times when the tart's been on the field, and they have not been able to hit.
Mike Pelfrey making his way in from the bullpen, getting ready for his start tonight. Pelfrey has looked tremendous early in games, and his task is to keep that success through the middle of games.
Well, but the best case scenario for a starting pitcher is not to start the game, stop, and have to restart, of course. With this 8 o'clock start, he should be ready to go. Full warm-up. Nice bases there.
Well, you are right, Ronnie. They got sunny skies. You can believe it. And it was ugly. It was like Kansas, where Dorothy grew up.
And can I tell you something? In the lead up to this game now, with a rain delay that's approaching an hour at the beginning, there is more noise in this ballpark right now than we heard in 3 days at Yankee Stadium.
You know, can I tell you, there was a buzz at this ballpark from the second I got here today. We have a little food room here that we use as a cafeteria before the game. That place, there's no place to sit down. People are all over the ballpark. This is the biggest buzz before a game I've seen here at Citi Field.
Alex Rodriguez has begun to swing the bat better, and really the whole Yankee team has. They were struggling for a while, but the last 2 days in Atlanta, their offense appeared to really get itself revved up.
Well, A-Ray was an 0 for 4 away from getting on the interstate, and he just turned it on, and you don't want that guy hot if you're a Met fan. Here it is.
Well, it blew in, and it blew hard. But now it's blown back out again. And although there is a thunderstorm watch in the area till 10 o'clock tonight, it looks like the rain is done here at Citi Field for the evening. CC Sabathia has completed his warm-up tosses. This will be just his second start against the Mets. The first time was 5 years ago as a member of the Cleveland Indians.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things about warming up in right field, I can only equate it to Fenway Park. Walking all the way across the field is a pretty cool feeling for a starting pitcher. You're starting to think about the lineup. You got this nice long walk with your pitching coach and catcher going over last-minute instructions, and it's just one of those times you feel like, you know, boy, I'm going into battle. It's a very football-like feeling for a pitcher with that long walk.
Boy, you're looking for John Wayne here. It looked like you're walking down Main Street with ready to go have a shootout.
And maybe even more so in a circumstance like this where the fans have been waiting around for an hour. There's an extra air of anticipation as you walk in, and every eye in the ballpark is on you. Now the Mets are taking the field, and we'll check out the starting lineup for the Yankees tonight. Derek Jeter was a late scratch. He's ailing with a flu bug that's been passing through the Yankee clubhouse. Melky Cabrera sat out yesterday. Robinson Cano is ailing a bit as well. They're both in the lineup tonight, but Jeter is not, and that moves Brett Gardner into the leadoff spot. And Ramiro Pena to shortstop. Francisco Cervelli, who's worked very well with Sabathia this year, gets the start over Jorge Posada for the Yankees, who sit 4 games behind the Red Sox in the American League East.
Oh, Mike Pelfrey's going to take the mound. 1 game over 500 for his career, 23 and 22. 5-2 record is awfully good, but that high ERA is a representation of Pelf tiring in the 5th and 6th innings in some of his starts. You see 6 home runs he's given up so far this year, none to a right-handed hitter.
And we'll take a look at the Lexus Metzi defense. Church, how about that? 114 career games in center field. He can play center. Church is a Gold Glove caliber outfielder, certainly a right fielder, that's for sure. And I think he'll have absolutely no problem in center field. And young Nick Evans, you see him over there at first base. Boy, what a start he's gotten off to.
You know, Keith, in some ways, Gary, I don't know if you'd agree, center field might be easier to play than right field here in this ballpark.
I'd be inclined to agree with you.
This is Church's first start in center field as a Met. His last came as a member of the Nationals in '07. And Ronnie, you got to watch him quite a bit in center field in D.C.
I did. When I did those games in '05, Endy Chavez was supposed to be the center fielder, did not make the team out of spring training. So Ryan Church played a lot of center field. And let me tell you folks at home, he is an outstanding outfielder, and he's an outstanding center fielder also.
And he's going to have to cover some ground because you got Sheffield, who's battling the knee problem that's kept him out of the last 4 games playing right field. Now, Sheff had a cortisone shot day before yesterday and perhaps will move a little bit better tonight, but he's not going to cover a ton of ground. And then you've got Tatis in left field.
Well, you've also got Sheffield, who's been wearing out left-handers, and you keep Sheff out of that, like Ronnie said, the toughest field to play in this ballpark is right field, where the Mo zone is out there. That's a big right field, cavernous right field.
Well, at his best, you hope that it's the infielders who get most of the work in this ballgame with Pelfrey pitching.
And that was certainly Jerry's figuring tonight, that he could compromise his outfield defense a little bit to try and get some offense with a ground ball pitcher on the mound. Brett Gardner will lead things off, slotted into the leadoff spot when Jeter was scratched. Gardner hitting at 281, and we are underway as he takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, Brett Gardner brings you a lot of speed at the top of that lineup. Got to be one of the fastest people in baseball.
And Pelfrey gets ahead of him, working him inside 0-2.
This park is electric.
Jumping, isn't it?
Pelfrey's fastball looks electric.
Little flare. Cora can't reach it. And Gardner's aboard to lead off the game.
Well, 3 straight fastballs inside, comes up and in. Too much plate. Not that much, just enough. Had the right elevation, Ronnie, but just not in enough, and that was the difference in that ball just getting out of Cora's reach.
Really the only mistake there, Keith. It's an 0-2 pitch. You can, if you're going to make a mistake in.
The Yankees have scored in 10 of their last 13 innings. That's how they finished in Atlanta the last 2 days. Johnny Damon hitting at 293, and he grounds one foul.
How about Damon with 14 home runs,
well,
45 RBIs?
Certainly has benefited from the short right field at Yankee Stadium. It's going to be a little longer poke here unless he hits one down the line.
He's become more of a pull hitter later in his career, right there trying to take a shot at that hole between Evans and Castillo.
Gardner's stolen 16 bases, has been caught only twice, and Damon hits a slow ground ball. Castillo with the backhand flip to get the first out of the game.
Well, Pelfrey looks like he's starting off this game pounding the lefties in. Nice feed, backhand feed by Castillo, getting the lead runner.
So 1 out and 1 on, and now Mark Teixeira will step in. Teixeira hitting at 280, second in the American League with 20 home runs, 4th with those 57 RBIs. And again, Pelfrey works the fastball inside to the lefty.
He slowed down a little bit, though. His last 10 games, a home run and 3 RBIs. So, but he was red hot.
Well, the other thing about Teixeira is he has a much higher average as a right-hand batter. He's hitting just 246 from this side of the plate.
Very, very dangerous hitter. What impresses me about Teixeira is his hustle. He runs everything out.
Well, we certainly saw that on the Castillo drop at Yankee Stadium. Teixeira scoring the winning run from first base.
And we saw it last year in Atlanta, Gary. He ran everything out, even routine ground balls. That's what impressed me about this young man. You know, you're talking about Teixeira, what, 348 against left-handers with only 4 home runs, but a lot don't have as many at bats. But certainly there is a discrepancy in the power numbers with 16 from the right side, from the left side, excuse me, from the right side. I'm sorry.
Just missed 3-2. But again, you get back to the dimensions of Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
That's got to have something to do with that as well.
Of course. Good pitch here by Pelf.
He had him too. You can see he buckled his world. That's a strike. He's done.
3-2. We'll see if Damon runs. He does. And Teixeira lifts one to left, chasing Tatis back. Ball carrying well to the edge of the track for the second out. And Gardner, who was all the way around second, will head back. Damon will go back to first. Well, you hit that same fly ball at Yankee Stadium, it might have a chance.
Interesting, though, that ball was not hit that great, and it carried in this ballpark. That might play a part later.
What a reaction here for A-Rod.
Well, first time Alex Rodriguez has appeared in front of the Met fans since the steroid revelations. And almost falls down. In fact, does go down to a knee, fouling off that fastball.
Well, he's looking fastball, middle in, first pitch. And he was going for the downs.
Boy, that would make me angry if I was starting pitching. I'll tell you that.
Would you?
Oh my God! Next pitch, automatic.
It's not going to happen.
There goes Damon, and no throw by Santos. Damon has his 8th stolen base of the year.
Well, don't think that these players aren't geared up for this Subway Series.
Not much of a lead, Keith.
No, but a great jump. And still can fly. Damon can still run.
Ronnie, I want to get back to what you said a moment ago. The fact that a guy takes a big swing makes you...
A swing like that where he falls to one knee with that Ruthian swing? Oh, man, Manischewitz. I would be angry.
Yep. I always liked Manischewitz myself. I prefer it.
Okay.
Yesterday, Alex Rodriguez tying Reggie Jackson for 11th on the all-time list with his 563rd home run. And Pelfrey falls behind him 3-1.
Pelfrey so far has a nice sinker. You saw that pitch to 2-2 to Teixeira. Just missed to go to 3-2. And that one to A-Rod right there. Really running in. Down and in.
Well, I was worried that Pelfrey had kind of let up a little bit on his fastball to get more control and sink. Tonight, Ronnie, he's throwing some gas up there.
Yeah, there's a strike. 95 miles an hour from Pelfrey. That's as hard as he throws. 3-2 to A-Rod.
Interesting take, wasn't there, on the 3-1 pitch?
Looking for a slider?
Yeah. Base open. Maybe he was thinking like that.
Maybe looking for something down there. 3-2. He walked him. And so the Yankees have 2 men on. First walk by Pelfrey, who's averaged just a little over 3 walks per 9 innings this year. And now we'll take on Robinson Cano, who was scratched from the Yankee lineup last night with a sore left wrist. And you see he has a pretty heavy tape on that left wrist.
Again, too, with the flu also combined with that sore wrist. Cano, who had an amazing April but came back to earth a little bit in May, starting to heat up again. Big nemesis against the Mets in the last series.
And a couple of home runs in that series. And Cano takes ball 1.
Well, Cano's a natural hitter that goes to the opposite field nicely. And there you see the sun to the west reflecting on the upper deck. Kind of a, can't say purple haze, kind of an orange haze.
Great light if you're a painter.
Beautiful.
There's a strike, 1-1 to Cano. Between the wraps on his wrist and the forearm bands and the elbow protector, you can barely see his arms.
Where's his football helmet?
2 on and 2 out. 2-1 to Cano.
Cano is one of those hitters that just has that beautiful swing, doesn't he, Keith?
Yes, he does.
Sweet swinger.
He's a natural swinger, fluid swing, and goes into the opposite field, as I said, into the left center field gap. Naturally, he drives that ball into the gap.
Big hopper for Castillo. And so Pelfrey gets out of first and in trouble. And the Mets will come to bat against CC Sabathia in the bottom of the first. Skies have cleared. No score. Top two guys with a lefty on the mound put Castillo in the leadoff spot. Sheffield back after missing the last 4 games. Nick Evans getting his 3rd straight start. Why not? 2-run homer in the first start and a 2-run double in yesterday's game. Luis Castillo leads off against CC Sabathia and takes ball 1.
Well, Karsten Charles, CC Sabathia, 6-4 so far this year, 123 up and 77 down for his career. Great athlete, great tight end in high school, had a full ride to the University of Hawaii.
123 wins, and he's only 28 years old. And when we talk about 300 wins being a thing of the past, you look at Sabathia's numbers and say, well, if he's able to stay healthy for another 10 or 12 years, then we can talk.
See those tattoos on his glove forehand? That could be a distraction. Wow.
Castillo taking all the way. Louis had a terrific series against the Cardinals, went 6 for 12 in the 4 games. And as we were talking about during the pregame show today, Louis has been playing every day and staying healthy.
Look at that on-base percentage. Outstanding. 380.
Hitting .323 as a right-hand batter this year. And Sabathia falls behind him 3-1. Sabathia, remember, came out of his last start on Sunday in Florida after an inning and a third because of biceps tendonitis. And until he threw his side session on Monday, was not entirely certain that he was going to pitch here. 3-1. And there's a strike, 3-2. Now, CC insisted all along that there was never a question that he was going to pitch here tonight. But anytime a pitcher leaves a start that early, you always have to keep a close eye the next time around.
In fact, he wanted to stay in that game, but Joe Girardi said, no way, not this early in the season. You're coming out.
3-2. Castillo takes. Did he swing? He did. Went around with a half swing. Chris Guccione punches out Castillo for the first out.
Well, both pitchers throwing hard, Ronnie.
I thought that pitch was a strike anyways, but let's see. The height of it, Keith.
Borderline knees. Boy.
And the way they call them these days, that's a swing.
Yes. Automatic, huh? We've talked about that ad nauseum.
So now Alex Cora, who, like Castillo, has been out there every day in the absence of Reyes. And Cora now 0 for his last 11 as he steps in against Sabathia.
Gary, you're talking about the 300 club, but think about it this way. 123 wins, you'd have to average 18 over the next 10 years. That shows how difficult it is to get to that 300 number.
Well, especially now when it's so hard to get decisions compared to prior years. pitchers work fewer innings, stay around for fewer decisions. Although Sabathia was certainly an anomaly last year after the trade from Cleveland to Milwaukee. He started 17 times for the Brewers, finished 7 of the 17, and went 11-2 down the stretch to help the Brewers into the postseason. Bouncing ball, just foul.
Philadelphia in the first game of that playoff series, they beat Sabathia, and the big guy that got the hit was the center fielder.
Victorino grand slam,
yes.
right?
Well, postseason has certainly not been kind to Sabathia, whether with the Indians or with the Brewers last year. Boy, what a beautiful sky.
Boy, it's like the colors you get on the Arno in Florence, Italy. I mean, it's just beautiful.
I've been there.
So have I. There's the 1-2. Breaking ball outside to it, too.
Just not to get them.
Well, you have the orange rooftops to set off the colors on the Arno.
You're right.
Back to Queens. Look at that. Reflecting off that Verizon edifice in right center field.
That's the Met front offices over there, folks. They're that building right there, if you didn't know.
Now the 2-2 to Cora. Looped in the air behind shortstop. Pena going out. Gardner coming on. Now Damon in to slide and make the catch. Johnny Damon closing ground and takes a base hit away from Cora for the second out.
Well, they're going to find out here. There's lots of room with the cover at City. And you can see Damon was way down the left field line. What a great angle there. How far he had to run, and he snow-coned it.
You know, what's interesting, guys, is that the past 10 days, Johnny's really struggled in left field and dropped the ball that he should have caught in Florida, and said he was totally embarrassed and was hoping to elevate his game defensively. Nice play there.
Well, he had problems with his eyes that forced him out of the first game of the series with the Mets at Yankee Stadium. Now David Wright hitting a .356, leading the National League. And he drives one to center field. Gardner going back. Gardner to the track, has room to make the catch. Side retired. David hit that ball a long way, but he's learned very quickly in this ballpark. It just doesn't go. We head to the second at Citi Field. No score. Calmer by phone at 718-507-TIXX. Get your Subway Series tickets now. Second inning, Melky Cabrera leads off against Mike Pelfrey. The switch hitter hitting a .286 on the year. And Pelfrey's curveball misses 1-1. Mike, over his last couple of starts, has been very efficient early in games. But the last two starts have not ended well for Mike. 5th and 6th innings, 3rd times around the batting order. Those have been deadly for him. Little tapper. In comes right to Barehand. Throws it away. Off the fence in front of the dugout. Castillo retrieving. Makes the throw to second. Not in time. And Cabrera's on second base. Great effort by Castillo to play the carom off the fence in front of the dugout after David Wright threw wide of first.
They're going to rule that a base hit. It looks like Gare and an error gets advancing on the throw. Wright, who has really perfected that bare hand. Just the throw runs up the line, and Cabrera very quickly reacts. Nice heads-up base running.
So it's an infield hit for Cabrera, an error on Wright, moving him to second. So the Yankees have a runner in scoring position and nobody out. Francisco Cervelli, the catcher, up there to bunt. Santos will let it roll, and it goes foul.
How about that?
Well, especially with your 8 and 9 hitters coming up. Now, remember that Sabathia, despite the fact that he spent most of his career in the American League, can hit.
He can rake.
But the number 8 hitter, Pena, who's playing because Jeter is hurt, is not much of a hitter. So that makes the play curious.
Well, maybe because they have their ace out there in CC Sabathia, want to give him a point to work with early.
Well, Girardi's been known to bunt. He has been under a little bit of fire. You know, it's an American League team, DH. He's bunt with that team a lot.
I remember, of course, Joe has managed in the National League and successfully in Florida. Manager of the year, and then got fired.
Well, it's a tough road for Joe and his team. Yeah, manager of the year. But 9 straight interleague games cost him Matsui playing time.
Now Cervelli swings and misses at the sinker. 1 and 2.
Well, Cervelli trying to get that runner over, and you try doing that with that hard sinker on your hands. Watch it just tie him up.
Got to come back with that pitch, don't you, Keith?
Well, I think you've had success with it.
Well, you don't want to throw anything on the outside part where you can allow him to hit the ball the other way.
1-2. Goes right back with the sinker and misses. 2 and 2.
You know, you talked about Mike before hitting the wall in 5th and 6th innings. It's a real simple reason for that. He does not use the secondary pitches early in the game. So what happens when he gets in trouble, that's the 3rd or 4th time around the lineup, and they're seeing that same sinker over and over again. Puts Mike at a disadvantage.
Struck him out. Way overmatched Cervelli. His first strikeout of the night and the first out of the 2nd inning.
You know, as much as you want to get the runner over, when you get 2 strikes on you, he's got the same idea, and you know, you just got to go to hitting and just try to put it in play. Easier said than done. Pretty good, pretty wicked sinker.
So Cabrera still at second with 1 out, and here's Ramiro Pena. Jeter a scratch tonight because of flu-like symptoms. Pena's at 77 at bats for the Yankees, hitting a .247. Much better left-hand hitter than right. Lined over third. That's a fair ball, and the Yankees will take the early lead. Pena pulls into second as he serves a double in the left, and the Yankees lead 1-0.
Boy, isn't that the case? The guy gets scratched, Derek Jeter, on his 35th birthday. Pena, who is not as good a hitter as Jeter, of course, and hits one off the end of the bat.
First pitch. You've seen it tonight. Didn't waste any time. I mean, if you're a left-hand hitter, your approach off Belfry has got to be predominantly looking for that sinker away.
Sabathia hits one toward the middle, past Cora, base hit. Pena around third. He'll score easily. Sabathia drives in a run in his first at bat of the season, and the Yankees lead 2-0. Now Sabathia, a lifetime .261 hitter, wasted no time.
Again, first ball, fastball hitting, and that's a good idea right there, Ronnie. And sinker got up. Just out of the reach of Cora.
th career run batted in for Sabathia in only 89 at bats. Not your average pitcher. Now Brett Gardner is singled to lead off the game. 4 hits now off Pelfrey, first time through the batting order.
A little different change there with Mike throwing a slider. There's the IOTV pitch differential. Walks that sinker down. That's middle.
And most importantly, Ron, when the sinker's up, it flattens out.
You're right.
I don't know why they're holding on Sabathia.
Another flare over third, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Sabathia takes a turn, but he'll hold it second as Tatis retrieves it from under the tarp. 4 hits in this inning, and 3 of them have been very soft.
Well, their approach obviously has taken Pelfrey the other way, the left-handed bats. Sabathia there goes Dan Warthen. Sabathia could have gone to third.
Yeah.
He had no interest in taking the extra base.
Well, base to base maybe for these New York Yankee pitchers after the injury to Wong last season. But this one again, another fastball just hit the other way. Trying to go up the middle or the other way. And the CCC doesn't get the greatest read. And you know what? Not only a pitcher on the bases, but American League pitcher on the bases.
And a 290-pound pitcher who I don't think you want to see sliding into a close play at third base.
Yeah, if you're the Yankees, you want him to go base to base. Absolutely.
But leave it to his discretion. Whatever he wants to do is fine. He's 290 pounds.
So now Johnny Damon, 2 runs are already in, still only 1 out. And Damon takes the curveball for a strike.
Isn't that funny? Dan Warthen comes out after Pelfrey's been pounding that sinker. It has cost him on the first pitch in every count. What's he counter with? First pitch curveball to Johnny Damon.
Damon reached on a fielder's choice in the first and stole a base. There's the sinker away, and it's 1-1. 3 straight hitters, Pena, Sabathia, and Gardner, put that first pitch in play, and good things happen for the Yankees on all 3. Two and 1 to Damon.
The key for your pitching sequences, guys, all the time is that you have to make sure that you are not predictable. Very rarely does Mike Pelfrey throw 2 curveballs in a row. Very rarely does he come inside with anything that's a 4-seamer. His favorite is to throw that sinker away.
Damon hits a double play ball. Cora to Castillo. He throws it away. Sabathia turns third. He will score. Stopping at third is Gardner. In at second is Damon. Mets could have had an inning-ending double play. Instead, it's 3-0 Yankees and still only 1 out. Second error of the inning committed by the Mets.
Well, routine. This is a routine double play, and Cora's usually so sure. Just comes underneath Ronnie with a little bit of underhand, and the ball runs away from Castillo into the runner.
And Sabathia, of course, watches that ball go by, and he can score. I think that was compounded by the fact Damon was running. Cora tried to rush the play.
Now Teixeira, infield back, swung and missed, 0-1. Mets already down by 3 runs, but they're ready to concede another run on a ground ball tonight. Sabathia is pitching against them.
Well, that's a tough play there, especially when you would think with Mike you're going to get a ground ball, maybe at least halfway. Although I don't think you can be halfway on Gardner. He has so much speed that he probably have to be all the way in.
The Mets have committed 2 errors in this inning, and that's very uncharacteristic.
Teixeira grounds one down to Evans. Out. Drops it. Does he have time to get back? No. Another error as Gardner scores to make it 4-0. Evans was thinking about stepping on first and throwing home, but he forgot the first part. And the Mets are falling apart in this second inning. This one is starting out the way the last one ended between the Mets and the Yankees.
Nice play by Nick, and he's got the right. You know, he didn't have complete control. And once you're doing that, he's worried about the runner home, and that's a natural tendency. When you're bobbling it, make sure the out. Know your runner. Gardner flies.
Hustling again is Teixeira down that line.
Why I love that, Matt.
3 errors in the inning. Give an RBI to Teixeira. Still only 1 out, and now A-Rod at the plate with first and third. And Pelfrey works him inside. There's a strike. There has only been one fairly hard hit ball in this inning, and that was by Sabathia on his base hit up the middle. And the Yankees have scored 4 runs.
Well, they got a chance to break this thing wide open with a big blow.
Double play depth for the defense.
Off the end of the bat, 1 and 2.
You know what made that play difficult, Keith, for Nick Evans is that Brett Gardner, watch, he is going on contact. And he has so much speed that I think that made Nick Evans rush a little bit, and that's why he looked up. What you want to know if you're Nick is that with that speed of Gardner, really got to be sure and just get that one out. An unusually good baseball speed for Gardner.
1-2 to A-Rod. And again, Pelfrey comes inside. Well, you talked about Pelfrey being angry after that first big cut, and he has really been pounding A-Rod inside.
You have to. A-Rod is one of those hitters that once he starts to get on a hot streak, he starts to like the ball out over the plate because he has so much power to right center field that you have to stay out of that area. You got to tie him up inside. Good try by Mike.
You got to pitch A-Rod in anyway. You don't want to extend his hands.
Just missed inside. That's 3 and 2.
So Pelfrey's had 2 pitches to get A-Rod out, Ronnie. He can't execute that inside fastball to put him away or shatter his bat.
See, the problem comes here is there's Dwight Gooden. He could have pitched anybody any way he wanted to.
He's with Meade. Look at Meade Chasky to his right.
Houdini makes money disappear.
Doc would have dropped the curveball on him right now.
Right.
He'd be sitting down.
Going back in.
Runner goes, fouled off. It's Teixeira in motion. Interesting.
Well, Teixeira runs well, and A-Rod, you can strike A-Rod out. Why not roll the dice and make it happen? Really try to make a big inning out of this.
Well,
4 runs.
We saw it early in this inning. Cervelli trying to bunt the runner along, sacrifice. Girardi trying to push the envelope a little, and has gotten 4 runs out of it, mostly through Don't play.
Outside, ball 4. A-Rod walks for the second time, and the bases are loaded. A nightmarish second inning for Pelfrey and his defense.
Well, Pelf kind of came under that breaking ball, kind of threw a flat one, trying to get a strike, Ron. And that's what I'm talking about here. When you've got pitchers in trouble, when men are on base, and you've got them on the ropes, who are those pitchers that are going to make those pitches, aren't going to alter? And who are the ones that do?
Well, now Robinson Cano with the bases loaded and 1 out with 4 runs already home in the inning. Cano grounded out to Castillo his first time up. And slashes one foul.
How many pitches so far?
Well, close to 50, I believe now,
in
right?
this inning.
And the Mets get Pat Mish up in the bullpen in the second inning.
Oh, Pelf trying to do a quick pitch there.
Have not seen one changeup from Mr. Pelfrey to the left-handed hitters.
On his fists, and Castillo is there to grab it. They called infield fly rule on that, which is very surprising. That ball was not hit very high in the air. but that's the second out.
Well, it would have been interesting if they didn't call that. The savvy Castillo could have dropped that ball and turned a double play because Mr. Cano did not run.
Can't call a hit. You cannot call an infield fly in that ball. It wasn't hit high enough.
The ball has to be a pop-up.
It's a humpback liner, isn't it?
No way.
So now 2 out of the inning. Melky Cabrera began this inning with an infield hit, and he's up for the second time. Cabrera hit a slow ground ball. David Wright came in, barehanded it cleanly, but threw it past first base. Cabrera wound up on second, and the revolving door has not stopped for the Yankees since.
Hey, it's important for Pelfrey to keep this at 4-0. There's a lot of ball game left. A gapper here, 7-0, or base hit 6. That makes it tough.
To Melky.
You know, Pelfrey, one of the things you don't like to see is he's showing a lot of frustration out there. And listen, you know, you're going to be frustrated when your team has made 3 errors in the inning, but you cannot show that. Right back to work.
Oh boy. Now it's 3-0, and he's in danger of forcing a run.
See, and he's getting angry. He thinks those pitches should be strikes. It's all right to be angry inside. Didn't want to show it, though. Body language is important for any pitcher.
3-0 to Cano. Yeah, it's a strike.
Well, here's a pitch right here, Gary. If you're just going to look for that ball away, he's going to try to throw a strike, go right up the middle.
On 3-1, Cabrera hits a slow ground ball. Castillo is there to play it. The inning comes to an end, but 10 Yankees came to bat as they take advantage of 3 mid-errors. Rice, Cora, and Evans all mishandling plays, and it leads to 4 Yankee runs, and now the Mets off a fight from behind against Sabathia. Inning.
What's the saying about the red sky? Sailor, this red sky.
Red sky at night, sailors delight.
Right.
Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. Gary Sheffield leads off against CC Sabathia and takes outside. Good to see Sheffield in the lineup tonight after missing 4 games. Took a cortisone shot behind his right knee day before yesterday. Had a great series at Yankee Stadium. Really enjoyed his time as a DH in those AL parks. But then the Mets came home. Sheff played 2 games and had to sit 5.
Well, he's 40 years old, and you know, This is a tough game. This is 162 and 182 days. It's a young man's game. Can't play a senior tournament.
Although, you know, every once in a while you see a feature about these 80-year-old men playing baseball down in Florida.
I see that.
So, you know, there is hope for some of those old people. Sheffield hitting at 276. Good breaking ball by Sabathia.
That is a pretty good slider, RJ.
Yeah, he's got the slider that's seldom swung at. Late break around the back corner of that plate. Backdoor slider.
And Sheffield down swinging at the fastball at 96 from Sabathia. Second strikeout for CC.
Well, the great thing about Sabathia, he is a genuine power pitcher. You saw right there, he's able to blow you away with that fastball. Good slider. The Cervelli factor pitches much better to the catcher Francisco Cervelli than he does to Posada, and we saw the threat with the bat. I hated that to be an omen, but he did well in his first at bat, driving in a run.
Ronnie's inside pitch brought to you by Xerox. Xerox Business of Baseball. Fernando Tatis bluffing a bunt with A-Rod playing back.
A-Rod doesn't even move. Still playing deep.
Well, maybe he should bunt then. Tatis making his 5th consecutive start and has looked a little better the last few days.
Nice changeup, 89-mile-an-hour changeup off that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Outstanding pitch from Mr. Sabathia. It's pretty nice when your changeup is 89 miles an hour.
It's not a big differential, is it?
It's not, but he doesn't throw that many, and it had great movement down and away.
Go right back to it. Tatis lays off this one, 1-2.
Very interesting with Francisco Cervelli behind the plate. He gives not only a low target, but the one thing that's a little different, he has that very wide stance, though. So even though it's a low target with his glove, he takes up a lot of space behind that plate.
He didn't want that pitch for a strike. Ahead in the count, 0-2.
2-2 to Tatis. Well, there's no question Sabathia has been more successful with Francisco Cervelli behind the plate than he has been with Posada or Jose Molina.
Almost a 2-run difference for Mr. Sabathia.
And Joe Girardi won't admit that that's why Cervelli is playing tonight. He cited the late arrival for the Yankees after playing a night game in Atlanta last night. Posada's 37 years old, but you have to think that those numbers have something to do with Cervelli's presence in the lineup.
Yeah, and they played a 4-hour game in Atlanta in 95-degree heat.
And that one missed, and he's second time Chris Guccione was punched out of Met Center tonight. Got Castillo in the first inning. Now he brings up Tatis.
He's like a slot machine over there. Jeez.
I don't think Jerry liked it. All lemons.
Oh man, I don't know. What do you think, Ron?
It's close. That's a lot closer than I thought it was. When I first saw it, I did not think he swung.
One-arm bandit.
So 2 out and nobody on. Back-to-back strikeouts for Sabathia. And now Ryan Church, one of 2 lefties in the lineup tonight for the Mets. Church is hitting just 188 against left-handed pitching this year, but that's in only 32 at-bats. And as Jerry Manuel said tonight, he said Church now is an everyday guy. And so he's in the lineup tonight and moving over to play center field. There's a strike, 0-2. Tony Randazzo calling the balls and strikes tonight. Chris Guccione working at first. Mike Winters at second. And the crew chief, Jerry Lane, over at third.
I think you'll really be able to tell if Church is out of his slump by the at-bats he takes here against Sabathia.
Slider fouled off. Well, with Carlos Beltran out, Mets only have 3 options in center field, and they're all left-hand hitters. You got Jeremy Reed, Fernando Martinez, and Church. You don't have anybody else who can patrol center field, and Jerry felt Church was his best offensive option against Sabathia. Just got a piece of that slider.
Are you guys surprised at all? And probably not, because Fernando Martinez is so young and you want him to play as often as you can. Are you surprised that Jeremy Reed hasn't gotten a little more play or a couple more starts than he has?
Jeremy Reed's done a heck of a job. He has been terrific off the bench. There's Jeremy.
Is it because you need him for late inning defense that he doesn't get the starts?
Gary made an interesting point the other day regarding Fernando in center field, and maybe the possibility of being showcased. Who knows?
Out to right field for Cabrera, and that retires the side. 6 up and 6 down for Sabathia to start the night. Now the Yankees will come up against Pelfrey, who tries to rebound from a rough inning as we go to the 3rd.
He can win anytime, any generation.
Back to the mound to face Francisco Cervelli, leading off in the 3rd.
34 pitches last inning, and a lot of it wasn't his fault. 3 errors committed by the Mets.
The last time the Mets committed 3 errors in an inning, you got to go back more than 5 years. May 20th, 2004, against St. Louis in an 11-4 loss.
In a game or an inning?
In an inning.
Okay.
The club record is 4 errors in an inning. They've done that 3 different times.
Well, it's very interesting, right? Because they make all the errors, and it's really the Yankees who've had a strange season so far with the errors. They went 18 straight games, I believe, without an error. But as of late, they went just the opposite.
The Yankees have made an error in 17 of their last 21 games since that 18-game errorless streak. I mean, they're much improved defensively, the Yankees, with Teixeira at first base.
Yeah.
But they're not a great defensive team.
No, they've got some aging players that are out there, but the Teixeira has made the big difference, digging those balls out of the dirt.
Foul tipped. And you've got some, I don't know what the right word is. You've got a little indifference out there sometimes from Cano at second base.
Well, Cano's one of those players, and I think that you've seen other people talk about Beltran like that. They're such a beautiful player to watch. They make everything look so easy that sometimes they get accused of not hustling, and that's not true in Beltran's case. Haven't seen Cano play enough to know that, but I know that Girardi has been irritated at him in past seasons for some of what you just described, Gary.
Well, they have to put up with it, I guess, a little bit. It's a different game today. He's a 300 hitter, that's for sure. But Girardi's a no-nonsense guy. He was a hard-nosed player. He's like a little Marine Corps sergeant.
Seventh pitch to Cervelli, and he rolls over one foul. Well, while the Mets are down 4-0 here, might give Met fans at least a reason to smile somewhat that the Phillies are down 4-0 in Toronto, and the Phillies don't have a hit through 5 innings against Ricky Romero.
I'll go out on a limb. Phillies going to get swept up in Toronto.
Really? Yes. Wow.
They're going to be extremely happy.
On the outside corner, strike 3 called. So Cervelli strikes out for the second time. 1 down in the third.
Philly's going to be very happy to get out of the American League, just like last year. I think it's in their head, Gary. They played so miserably last year against in interleague play, and they've gotten off to a terrible start. They're not playing well against the American League this year, and I think it's up inside their head.
And while the Mets have been a beneficiary of that, how about the Florida Marlins, who have won 5 games in a row, going into their game in Tampa Bay tonight, which they trailed 2-1 in the 4th. But the Marlins are only a game behind the Phillies and a half game behind the Mets. Tightened up. Here's Ramiro Pena, who doubled in a run his first time, and he drives this one toward the gap in left center. That's in for a base hit. Church gets over to cut it off deep, but Pena easily into second base with his second double of the night. So Derek Jeter a late scratch. Ramiro Pena takes his place, and he's 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles. How about that?
Well, you said it, Ronnie. It just happens. How many times a late scratch and the guy that comes off the bench, no matter what he's hitting, and has a big day.
Another first pitch fastball swung at there by Pena. Got some nice speed too out of the box.
Well, now Pelfrey facing Sabathia. Perhaps he'll give him a little more credit this time. Sabathia singled up the middle to drive in a run his first time, and this time Pelfrey keeps it away. Now Mike really building up his pitch count early in this game. Already up to 65 pitches with 1 out in the third. There's a strike, 1-1. You know, we mentioned it during the open tonight. John Maine today was scratched from his rehab start tomorrow at Brooklyn because he continues to have pain behind his right shoulder. John's going to be shut down for at least another week. Another shot up the middle. Cora playing a little closer to the middle that time and able to throw out Sabathia. He hit it in the exact same spot as he did the previous at bat, but Cora cheating toward the middle, and this time able to throw him out as Pena moves to third.
Well, he hit this ball harder than he did the first time up. This is a bullet. But Cora makes the nice play, positioned beautifully.
You're always leery when Alex has the dive, because watch that right hand where he hurt his thumb. Always hits the ground when he has those diving plays.
Tries to use the outside of that hand rather than go thumb first. So 2 out and a runner at third. Now Brett Gardner is already 2 for 2 in this game. Anyway, talking about Maine, now it looks as though at least the All-Star break and maybe beyond before we see John Maine again. And I think that puts a lot more burden on Mike Pelfrey to be more of a number 2 type starter.
Puts a little burden on Nieve too to keep it up.
But I don't think the expectations were high for Fernando Nieve. I think if you're the Mets, you have to look at whatever you get from him as a bonus. But Pelfrey last year showed signs of being the guy who could step up and be that top of the rotation type starter.
I agree, but I think that one of the most important things is you got to place that out of your head, because if you start to try to elevate your game, sometimes your game will go down south. You really just need to stay in the moment. But I know what you're saying. At some point, you want Mike to start to get where he was literally 4 or 5 starts ago. I remember I told you, I don't know if we're in the booth, I said it, or maybe in between innings, I said that he's throwing the best I've seen him throw in his time here with the Mets, because he was using all of his pitches. I mean, if you watch him pitch now, personally I'm watching the game, and really everything is hard and harder. There's not a lot of differential in the pitches that he's throwing, differential in speeds. That gets the hitters, you know, it's a little easier for them if they're seeing the same speed over and over.
I think Mike's a little upset with the umpire. It might be squeezing him a little bit. And Mike, you know, he gets his blood up when he's in there. He had a tough inning.
Big hop for Evans. Gardner can fly, and Evans just beats him to the bag to retire the side. A double and one left. Evans makes the put out. Now he'll lead off at the bottom of the third. 4-0 Yankees.
Him now being pushed back and probably realistic. General manager, maybe a little bit apart on when he'll be back for the Mets, but certainly we'll find out how he does on Sunday first. Guys, back to you.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Nick Evans takes high, and it's 2-1. It almost makes you feel as though the Mets are delaying Perez's return until they have a need.
By the way, the general manager usually wins that battle, Gary. I think you're right, and the reason being, I believe, watch this pitch here from Sabathia.
Oh boy,
as I think you're right, Gary. They're not sure what they want to do, but even more importantly, as you see this fastball by Nick Evans, they have one shot, I think, at the steal. And when he comes back, he's got to be at top of his game, because they can't bring him back and have another experience where every start is a run per inning. He's got to come back where he can be effective like he was the last two seasons.
2-2 to Evans. Struck him out. Fastball right by him twice. And that's 4 strikeouts for Sabathia as he retired the first 7.
Wow, he got a 2-1 count and had 2 straight fastballs thrown by him. That's impressive.
Now, this young man, I tell you, is top of the food chain. He is a good pitcher who goes deep into games. He can throw 130 pitches. As you saw with Milwaukee last year, he can carry your ball club all by himself into the playoffs. Just a special talent.
They don't give you a 7-year, $161 million contract for nothing. Here's Omir Santos with 1 out. to get back to Oliver for just a moment because we discussed this the other day, the possibility of bringing Ollie back as a relief pitcher and using him as that second lefty in the bullpen. It sounds more now as though the Mets are not considering that, at least not in the short term.
Oh, nice change. I agree with Ronnie. You don't want him coming back. And the worst case scenario is Ollie coming back and blowing up, not throwing strikes. Now, it's okay. You're down in A ball. Pitching in A ball, it's a little bit different up here. The hitters are all infinitely better, obviously, than the A ball competition. Got a little more pressure in the New York spotlight. And it wouldn't surprise me, Gary, that if they do bring him back, it will be a start on the road.
And the last 2 starts ago, he walked 4 single-A hitters. So my feeling is that it's very tough to bring him into the bullpen when his job will be to get a hitter out, and he has those fits of wildness at times.
2-1 to Santos, punch foul.
That's the most important thing if you're a reliever. First hitter, first strike. And that hasn't always been the strength of Oliver so far this year. To see, you know, the opponent's batting average, that's the most alarming to me, because Oliver, even when he's going bad, hitters will only hit maybe 200 off him, 220.
Kind of Sid Fernandez type number.
Absolutely.
In the dirt to Santos, 3-2. Well, the interesting thing about the Mets rotation right now is you've got Santana, who's in a class by himself. You've got Pelfrey, who's, you know, that middle of the rotation guy who's struggling right now since Manning Perez went out. And then you've got 3 number 5 starters, all of whom are pitching great, especially Cleavon Hernandez, who's really elevated himself beyond number 5 starter status at this point. Here's the 3-2. Line right to A-Rod for the second out. So 2 out and nobody on. Here's your AT&T high-speed pitch. Both have hit 96 on the gun. It's been a little different feeling, though, from Sabathia's 96.
Well, he's throwing strikes and he's in control.
And he's mixing in his changeup, and he's used his slider pretty sparingly, Ronnie.
Who's your favorite cowbell man?
The shades tonight.
Is that the guy that makes all that racket?
That would be him. Mike Pelfrey takes a strike. It's like Cowbell Man has found a home out there by the bridge in right center.
Well, it's a little different for him in this new ballpark, right? He used to be able to walk around the stadium. He's kind of confined to the concourses now.
Right, it used to be that on every level you could walk between the box seats and the reserved seats and everybody could see you, but now you have to kind of walk behind everybody and you don't get quite the same effect from Cowbell Man.
I don't think they consulted him in the building of the stadium, Gary.
Remember the guy in Cleveland running the old stadium with the big drum, Tom drums, right field fence,
drive you cuckoo.
Oh, with 3,000 people, Sunday day game. Oh, murder.
Pelfrey chops one out to Ramiro Pena, and Sabathia's gone perfectly through the Mets. First time through the batting order. We go to the 4th at Citi Field, 4-0 Yankees. Get to the July 10th Mets game for the Wise Big City Crunch. Here's your Outfly trivia question for tonight. The only 3 players to play for the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, and Giants. All 4 teams that have called New York home.
I know one.
I know at least one. Not sure we're thinking of the same guy. I know 2.
You know 2, huh?
One is definitely here tonight.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I know that if you take the Dodgers and Giants, we're just thinking about those teams when they're only in New York.
No.
Yeah, these are. No. But I'm saying there's only one player that played for all 4 teams when they were in New York. The New York Giants, the Brooklyn Dodgers, the New York Yankees, and the New York Mets. Only one, I believe.
Really?
Yes.
Dave, get on that, would you?
You got me stumped on that because I can't imagine.
I hope I'm right.
2-2 to Johnny Damon, and he fouls it away. Damon is hit into a fielder's choice, reached on an error. 0 for 2. He's stolen a base. Curveball fouled away. Now that's one of the rare times we've seen Pelfrey throw a curveball with 2 strikes.
Just it hung in the middle of the plate. But he's got to get to the point where maybe he can, you have to have control with your breaking pitches too, and be able to not only throw up for strikes, but throw them down in the strike zone.
Slash foul. Well, it's nice to see people from different sides of the fence sharing a drink.
Sure.
What made it really interesting is that the Jeter jersey, if that was an A-Rod jersey, you'd have 2 Rodriguez with Yankees and Mets.
Now, how about if you had a Francisco Rodriguez jersey next to a Brian Bruni jersey?
There you go.
Those 2, we're told, have buried the hatchet.
Very nice.
Bruni sent a clubhouse kid over to K-Rod to give a complete apology after their little on-field confrontation at Yankee Stadium. In there for a call strike 3, so a 9-pitch at bat, and Damon goes down looking. 3rd strikeout for Pelfrey. Brooklyn baseball is in season. Get your tickets at Keyspan Park online at brooklyncyclones.com by calling 718-507-TIXX or at Citi Field. Get your Cyclones tickets now. You can even see Oliver Perez pitch for the Cyclones on Sunday
against Aberdeen. Cyclones, last time I looked, were in first place, I believe. Aberdeen, that would be Maryland.
That's where Cal Ripken Sr. was managing, and I believe that's where Cal Ripken Jr. was born.
And I think he has a lot of his youth baseball located in that area.
Popped up. Alex Cora waiting for it to come down. And Teixeira retired 2 away.
Important for Pelfrey, as I said earlier, Gary. Keep it at 4 runs. A lot of game left. I know you got Sabathia out there. Give your offense a chance. And it seems Ronnie like he just got that 3rd inning, got out of that little mini jam, and now it seems like he's got himself composed, not trying to overthrow, and having a very good inning.
A-Rod's been up twice and walked both times. They're going to the 7th inning now in Toronto. Blue Jays lead the Phillies 4-0, and the Phillies still do not have a hit against Ricky Romero.
Seems to be very thematic around the league here. No hits, that is.
And a 4-0 game. To right field. And Sheffield is there waiting, so Pelfrey bounces back nicely with a 1-2-3 top of the 4th. Mets will try and get something going against Sabathia, 2nd time through the batting order. presented by IOTV. 2 more with the Yankees. We're on Pix 11 tomorrow night. Games on ESPN Sunday night, and then off to Milwaukee, 1 in Pittsburgh and 3 in Philadelphia next week. And if you're in the car, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Top of the batting order, as Sabathia's gone perfectly through the Mets first time around. Castillo struck out his first time up, and Louis takes a strike. Well, you'd have to certainly say so far that Sabathia is showing no ill effects from the biceps tendonitis that knocked him out of his last start in Florida. Punch to the right side, and Cano is there to grab it. 1 away. Well, there's everybody's favorite hockey pest, Sean Avery. And Kate Hudson, who has been following A-Rod around.
Goldie's daughter. Goldie and Kurt Russell used to spend a lot of time here, right, when they're relative?
Kurt Russell is the uncle of Matt Franco.
There we go.
And Kurt used to take BP with the Mets when Matt was here.
Kurt Russell's father used to own in AA. He played for the California Angel team in well, it wasn't San Antonio. I think it was El Paso. So I played against Kurt Russell. Went way back. 73.
0-2 to Cora.
Forget about Kurt Russell. What a career he's had, starting with all those Disney movies as a kid.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Action hero. He found his niche.
Cora hit a fly ball to left his first time up, and Damon made a nice sliding catch.
Gets 0-2 on Cora, and then throws just a little 97-mile-an-hour cutter just off the plate.
Fastball fouled off, 97.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that you love about the big man's motion. Very athletic, very limber. Usually don't see that with a big guy. Big leg kick there, and of course gets that 290-pound frame headed toward the plate.
Big leg kick with big legs. Breaking ball. Did Cora go? No.
Oh boy.
Third base umpire Jerry Lane a little more liberal than Chris Guccione, the first base umpire, who's punched out a couple of Mets tonight. Two and two now to Cora. And the curveball in for a call, strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Sabathia.
Well, the curveball just is meant to be away, and it just kind of backs up inside. Ron freezes you. It starts at your hip. And adios, amigo.
The Phillies have broken up Ricky Romero's day off in the 7th.
Okay, great.
Here's Wright, who flied out deep to center field his first time up. When David hit that ball in the first inning, it looked like he had crushed it, and it did not make it past the edge of the warning track. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin.
Guys, I checked in with Howard Johnson today about Wright and about his season and about how some of the stats are so different from other years. And he said, well, it's a reason, because his approach has changed at the plate. He said, look, I'll acknowledge the strikeouts are weird, and I think that trend will go down. But bottom line is, we've put home run out of the vocabulary. He said, I talked to him after the first homestand. He said it would be crazy to think about a home run because the park is big. So for him, get out of that pull stage and be a better hitter. That's the idea, to go the other way, to use the whole field. He said once he started getting that idea, he was okay. He said everything else will come. He said the idea is to be a better hitter. So the approach is different. That's the thing with David Wright. He's not thinking about home runs right now, and they're not coming. But Hojo said he's fine with that. So an interesting take, guys. This is no accident, apparently, what's going on with David.
Change up down and away. Think fastball inside and up. There we go.
2-2 to right. Well, off the ball that David hit his first time up tonight, you'd be foolish to ever think about trying to hit a home run here.
Well, we saw the replay in between innings and commercial break, and it just got in enough, close enough to the label.
I'll try to dart this one away, Keith.
Boy, he's throwing hard.
98 miles an hour right there.
Jeez.
And it's free and easy, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It would seriously put you in plan B up there. And choke up a little bit more and just shorten up. This is just too good at stuff.
On 3-2, right, fouls off the changeup.
I didn't like that call.
Yeah, interesting choice with a 4-0 lead, big ballpark, 98 mile an hour gas.
They're going to have to, with 2 strikes, they're going to have to come in and crowd David.
Be nice for a little mano a mano right here, right? You're a good fastball hitter. I got a good fastball. Try to hit this one.
Another one. Wow. Getting too cute.
3-2. Hit hard down to third. Nice short hop pick by A-Rod. And he comes down right to run the inning. Sabathia stays perfect through 4 thanks to some help from his third baseman. One hot corner glove throws out another. 12 up and 12 down for Sabathia. Yanks lead 4-0. And throws him out. So 1 out in the 5th.
Well, Mike's settling down nicely.
That's important for Mike, though, to get in the fielding position. Because he is going to give up a lot of ground balls. The better position he gets in the fielding, more he'll do to help himself. One of the things we never saw over there at Chase Stadium, right? Never saw the people walking in between innings.
Well, you wouldn't see them if they were. They would be back behind.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Now we can see them out at the bridge and out in center field.
Pretty cool.
Walking to where the food is. Cabrera hits it to right center, and Church calls. 2 out. Well, 2 up and 2 quickly set aside for Pelfrey, who now has retired 7 in a row.
You know, it's hard to blame Mike because of those 3 errors in that inning, but it's something that over the course of the last few starts, it's an alarming thing. Managing an inning has been a little difficult for him, and when he gets in trouble, it seems like the other team seems to put a crooked number up.
That's committed 3 errors in the second inning that led to 4 runs. 2 of them earned, 2 of them unearned. Francisco Cervelli takes a strike. Cervelli has struck out both his at-bats, swinging in the second, looking in the third.
Cervelli looks a little overmatched here, but you know what? The greatest 1-for-4 a hitter can have is the first 3 at bats, the pitcher just making you look sick, and then you get him in that last at bat late in the game with the men out there, and you get that RBI single that beats them or ties the game up, a big hit.
To Cervelli, who hit his first big league home run the other day in Atlanta. That got the Yankees offense cooking.
The 2 things happened in that game: that home run by Cervelli and Joe Girardi getting thrown out when Brett Gardner was picked off at first base. He didn't think that was the case and went out to argue, and Yankees responded.
Cora handles the hop, throws out Cervelli. 8 in a row retired by Belfry. He's settling in, but can the Mets do anything against Sabathia? Halfway through, 4-0 Yankees.
Of all the special events, Old Timers Day really brings on that nostalgic feeling. Joe DiMaggio, Willie Mays, Ralph Kiner, and so many greats of yesteryear grace Shea Stadium on a memorable day. But every date is special, and you never know what surprise might be in store, like a visit from soccer star Pele.
You know, that's one of the events that I really miss.
I agree.
Old Timers Day was so great. Even, you know, as a kid, when they brought back players who you may have never seen or maybe even never heard of, but just the nature of baseball lending itself to a little historical perspective. I used to love Old Timers Day.
Well, the last Old Timers game that I played at Shea, I had to face Jerry Kuzma, and he dropped a curveball on me the first pitch.
Go sit down.
And a good one. And a good one.
That does not surprise me.
By the way, my least favorite. I'd be participating as an old-timer now.
Well, the introductions were always better than the games themselves. Gary Sheffield pops the first pitch foul against Sabathia in the bottom of the 5th, and that'll go out of play.
The Mets of 62, we're talking about how many errors they made.
Well, in between innings, we're talking about how Washington losing 11-1 tonight are on a pace, not on a pace, but they were on a pace to threaten that mark by the 62 Mets.
Yeah, but they've been winning some games lately. They have a 4-game winning streak. They beat the Red Sox and Smoltz last night.
210 errors the 62 and 63 Mets made.
That's a lot.
That is I can't fathom that. Casey must have had a heart attack.
What was the line he said? Can anybody play the game here?
Well, the gloves were smaller then.
Oh. That's a lot of 4s and a couple 5s in Stratomatic.
Well, they did have Mark Thronberg. Sheffield drives one to left field. Back goes Damon looking up, and it's out of here. Gary Sheffield breaks the ice. The Mets' first hit on CC Sabathia. A home run for Sheffield. His 9th of the year. Number 508 lifetime. And the Yankee lead is cut to 4-1.
Oh, a hanger. He just threw the fastball the first time up, struck out Sheffield, threw it by him twice, and gave him something he can catch up to, Ronnie.
Yeah. Well, the Mets missed Sheffield's bat the last 4 days. Sheffield now leads the Mets in home runs with his 9th of the season.
Well, I think Pelfrey put up 3 zeros against the Yankees. That's given the Mets a little bit of life. You try to peck away here against Sabathia.
9th home run Sabathia's allowed this season. And Tatis foul tips 1-0-2.
Well, that IOTV pitch tip for
boy. Well, there you go. That says it all.
I think right now, if you're a pitcher against Gary Sheffield at 40 years old, I think you have to err with fastballs up and in.
Yep.
You're going to throw a slider. It's a good pitch, but it has to be out of the strike zone.
Same thing with Tatis. Tatis has been a little tardy this year. Been starting too quick. Don't give him something to catch up to, as you said, Ron. But
Sheff has been a lot like Moises Alou the last 2 years. Can't always get on the field, but every time they do some damage.
Now the question is, how often can you play him? Grounded down to third. A-Rod smothers it. Get into his feet. Tatis beats it out. Silly head first slide, but Tatis is aboard with an infield hit.
well, the Mets got something cooking here. A-Rod off the line prevents this from being a double with the backhand. Tatis, who always hustles down the line.
Well, because of his offensive numbers, you tend to forget how good a fielder A-Rod is.
No, you don't get there any quicker.
It's the dumbest play in baseball. All you can do is get hurt and more likely to be thrown out. But now the Mets with back-to-back base hits against Sabathia. And here's Church, who flied to right his first time up. And the noise in this place is incredible.
It is alive. And the Mets, as we said, we talked earlier back in the second inning, that Pelfrey to stop the bleeding and keep this as a 4-run game. Well, the Mets have a shot to come back.
We heard the volume rise at Citi Field the last time the Phillies were here, but this place tonight has been at a high pitch from the first pitch.
And they had the most people in the ballpark for that last game against St. Louis, which was a day game. Very surprising.
Church breaks his bat to Sharon, knocks it down, makes the play to second. That's the first out of the inning.
Well, that's getting in where the pots and pans are right here. Inside fastball. Boy, he just saws off Church. Tough pitch. That's 2 if Teixeira makes the play. Probably distracted by the bat, but recovers to get the lead runner.
Well, Tatis had to stop because of the bat going by.
Well, we saw a game was lost this week already when the shortstop got hit by a bat and could not make the play.
And Sabathia didn't come over to cover first, RJ.
Now Nick Evans, and he takes ball 1.
No.
Woo. By the way, someone's going to get hurt, and I know no decision is going to be made on bats until someone does get hurt. But you know, it's a shame.
It's got to be a huge problem.
Well, can young Nick Evans do it again?
2 RBIs in each of his first 2 starts. And as Jerry Manuel has said, this is a meritocracy right now. You hit, you stay in the lineup. Nick is hitting, and he'll stay. 2-0. Goes the other way, a base hit. Church pulls in at second. The Mets have 3 hits in the inning off Sabathia. And they'll get the tying run to the plate with Santos coming up.
Fastball away. It is away. Evans going right with it.
4 hits and 9 at bats now for Nick since he was called up.
Oh, it's nice to see Evans, who we know hit that 2-run home run in his first game at first base. Yesterday's game, was able to hit that ball slider from Carpenter down the right field line, and again going the other way against Sabathia.
So now the guy who has maybe the biggest home run the Mets have hit this season steps in as the tying run. Santos, who homered off Jonathan Papelbon in Boston to turn a game around in the ninth, now faces Sabathia. And Homer hit it very hard his first time up, lining out to A-Rod.
Well, Jerry's got a decision to make with Pelfrey in the on-deck circle. And I got to believe he's got a pinch hit for him if Santos doesn't deliver here.
That's how the bullpen cranking off that eventuality. That's how mostly lefties on the bench though tonight. The only right-hand bat available to Jerry is Argenis Reyes, a switch hitter. Other than that, it's all all lefties. So there's Argenis with a bat in his hand. Pat Mish up in the bullpen. Homer could solve that problem by hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
There you go.
Here's the 1-1. Line shot down the left field line, but foul.
So he's going to get in trouble with that changeup, Ronnie. It's just he doesn't locate it well. I'm talking about Sabathia. Yeah. And this changeup is up and right down the pipe. That's a dangerous pitch.
51 RBIs so far this season for Mets catchers. That's more than any other position for the Mets.
And more than any other catching core in the majors. Sabathia go ahead here on Santos, 1-2.
Nope.
Santos punches one foul.
He fought off a good fastball in.
Homer with 23 runs batted in. With only 128 at bats. Fouled away. He's getting some good cuts.
Yeah. Well, he's being very, very protective with a 1-2 count, which makes him vulnerable in. He fought off a good fastball to pitch prior, 1-2, up and in. It was beat, and there was a fastball away a little bit tardy. So he's doing the right thing. When you're 1-2 of a pitcher of this caliber, you've got to shorten up and go up the middle.
Santos strikes out, but the runners will advance. Santos can't go to first because first base was occupied with less than 2 out. But Church and Evans are able to advance to second and third.
Well, that's very interesting. I thought he swung at that pitch and hit him in the foot, but I guess it must have hit Cervelli. Let's take another look.
Slider in the dirt.
Yeah,
he hit his foot.
Which means the ball should be dead, and the runner should have to go back to first.
Here comes Girardi. We're going to bring him back.
There you go.
The umpires are going to change it.
Well, I'm glad my eyes are still working.
Ronnie, good call.
Because once it hits his foot, it's a dead ball, even though he swings and misses and it's a strike. Anytime the ball hits the batter, it's immediately a dead ball, so the runners cannot advance. So that's a bad break for the Mets.
Jerry's going to get the explanation from Tony Randazzo.
It's the 6th strikeout for Sabathia. And now Argenis Reyes will come up to bat for Pelfrey.
Not very many times you'll have a pitcher who's got that kind of break where he's going to throw a slider, you're going to swing at it to strike out, and it hits you in the foot. Dave Island, the pitching coach, coming out to speak to the big man. What he's doing right now is because Reyes is coming in, Argenis Reyes, is that usually before the game you go with the scouting report with your starting pitcher on the 9 people he'll be facing. Mostly 8, not too much about the pitcher unless he's a good hitter. Just going out there to give the scouting report on Argenis Reyes for Sabathia.
Mets have finally gotten to Sabathia here in the 5th for 3 hits, including a Sheffield home run. But now 2 out and 2 on for Reyes, who's had 1 at bat since being called up earlier in the week. Had an infield single on Wednesday against the Cardinals. Argenis, who played well at times for the Mets last year before going through a horrendous late season slump. The only right-handed bat available on the bench tonight. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, you're pinch hitting off a guy like this, well, you got to be swinging the bat on a fastball. Took a fastball up and away.
I could be the pitching coach for CC Sabathia. You go out there, right? What do you tell him? You know what? Try to throw that 98-mile-an-hour fastball, that razor blade slider, and try to throw the parachute change. That'll work for you, big man.
By the way, we're leaving you out there for 135 pitches today.
Exactly. Go get him.
Reyes swings and misses at the changeup, and it's 0-2.
Keith, I don't know about you, but I was watching Sabathia. He slowed his motion down on that changeup.
He sure did.
I just don't know if you can see it as a hitter. If you can see it on the camera, but I don't know if you can see it as a hitter.
He hides the ball well, too.
So Reyes has a big hole to fight out of.
Let's see if he fastball away. 0-2. Let's see if he tries to break off that hard slider that he threw to Santos.
Excellent. Don't want to hang it here.
See if the fish are biting. 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Sabathia with back-to-back strikeouts to get himself out of a jam. He's got 7 strikeouts tonight. The Mets get on the board, though. Gary Sheffield with his 508th career home run. 4-1 Yankees after 5.
and what he does between starts. He, of course, will go for the Mets tomorrow night here against the Yankees. And, yesterday was up in the booth, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. And just continuing his routine, what he did yesterday as we track what he does between starts. Yesterday was 10 3/4 poles, and what that is from foul pole to foul pole, he runs 3/4 of the way, walks 1/4 of the way, then runs 3/4 of the way, and repeats process without stopping. He does that 10 times, and if you've never done it, it's a long way, 10 times. Trust me. Also, upper body work for Redding yesterday, did some core work with weights, and then just the only throwing he did just from 90 feet, just to loosen the arm up a little bit. That was it for Wednesday, somewhat of a light day. Today on Friday, a little bit different, as Ramiro Pena, by the way, leads off for the Yanks here in the 6th. He's already got 2 doubles. Today a little bit different in the sense that Jerry Manuel had the guys out doing some drills. In fact, he took PFP and they worked on different things. He worked on turning the double play, getting the ball and throwing to second base, pickoff moves to second base. A lot of different drills like that for Redding today, the things he worked on. He also took a full round of batting practice. He told me about 2 or 3 times a week he'll take BP, not always on the field. A lot of times he'll take some rips in the cage. Usually one of those days is a bunt day. And then here was the interesting thing about his session today, as Pena will pop it up and Evans puts it away. The other thing he did today, guys, he threw 15 pitches on the mound in the bullpen, trying out that new 2-seam changeup. Remember, we told you the other day in his bullpen, he just learned that grip. Well, he tried it out for 15 pitches today, said it felt great. I asked him how he would use that tomorrow. He said he feels good enough after today that he thinks he'll at least bring it into the repertoire tomorrow, but we'll find out and watch as we continue to track Redding. Guys?
It's been fascinating watching all week as Pat Mish pitches in the 6th inning for the Mets, seeing how Redding gets himself ready for his next start.
Well, Pat Mish in the game appeared in 38 games for the Giants in 4 seasons from 2006 to this season, 2009. Made 1 start, a complete game, 7-inning complete game for the Bisons in Buffalo, and looked very effective on Wednesday. His first outing for the Mets, a scoreless inning.
There's the 1-2-3-8 against the Cardinals in that 11-0 Met win. Mets faced Mish in San Francisco earlier this season, and when the Giants let him go, the Mets picked him up, and with the Mets needing an extra lefty in the bullpen, Mish now making his 2nd appearance against Sabathia, who had a run-scoring single in the 2nd, and he takes a strike.
The first at bat's on your left, and Sabathia's base hit. More importantly, both runners run second base. Cora this time plays a little more up the middle and is able to make the play. So those are adjustments that are made in the course of a game. And you see Cora's in a much better position to field that ball. Didn't come out more to pull as he did the prior time when he was holding the runner on, and basically playing him the same place up the middle again.
2-2. Slash down the left field side foul.
And David Wright is way in the hole. Normally with pitchers, you play pitchers to the opposite field, but look at David Wright, Ron. He is just way over there in the hole,
especially off the lefty, right?
Yeah, surprise.
But Sabathia's got some pop, I'll tell you.
He's got 3 career home runs and only 90 career at bats.
Well, the outfield's got him shaded the opposite field.
3-2 now to Sabathia, so he is a legitimate hitter. In fact, among active pitchers, Sabathia has the 2nd highest batting average behind Micah Owens. The chopper for Castillo to handle, and that's the 2nd out.
You know, we did a lot of talking, and Kevin, great report all week on Tim Redding, and it's very interesting that he's working on that 2-seam changeup. And you say to yourself, how many starting pitchers really work on a different kind of pitch during the year? Well, really, at the stake of him being injured during spring training, wasn't able to work with Dan Worthen that much on those kind of pitches. So Tim's trying to incorporate that, and it's something that really only with a veteran pitcher can you do that. A rookie, you'd probably stay away from changing his changeup during the course of the season.
And do you think that after just learning that pitch this week, he will actually be able to throw it in a game tomorrow night?
Yes, the reason being is that the adjustment is he's gone to 2 seams. The good thing about it, he's still holding the ball the same way as far as it's a circle grip. Just a little different change of where the ball is placed in your hand. So yes, I think he can use that.
Is it still though, Ronnie, because you're holding it with a different seams, does it still feel different in your hand?
It definitely will feel different. The key is when two seams, you will catch more seams with the ball. And anything time you throw a two-seamer, the ball is going to sink more than the four-seamer. So that's what he needed, because his changeup's been pretty straight.
Gardner pulls one foul. How about the way, in this particular case, and since it is the same pitch with a different grip, because with a changeup, it's a field pitch, and it's the way it comes out of your hand and the way it rolls off your fingers. Does it come off the same way?
It'll come off a little differently, because what happens is you'll come off of it without touching some of the seams with, like, you know, your forefinger and your middle finger and your ring finger. Those three fingers won't always be on seams, but your circle will be. And I think that's where he's going to get that extra movement.
Guys, the pitch will tail away from lefties. And I just want to add to the conversation, Ronnie, and great thoughts about this is, but he said the other factor for him tomorrow will be using it, not only how it feels in the bullpen, as Gardner's going to doink one into center here. But he said the key for him is, you know, it's one thing to work in the pen and play with the grip and then throw the pitch, but what concerns him is making sure that he can grip the pitch, especially from the stretch, without tipping off the pitch. So when you're in the full windup, it's no problem. You got the glove hand open. But he said, for me, from the stretch, I have to be careful that I can grip it easily and get used to that without tipping it, guys.
Brett Gardner with his third hit of the night, and now Mitch must be wary of Gardner trying to steal a base. Johnny Damon at the plate.
One simple difference you're going to see. Okay, this is the four-seam changeup. Okay, circle grip all the time, circle grip. But look at these three fingers. What do they have? Each one is catching two seams. Okay, when you go to the two-seamer, each finger has no seams. That's the difference. You still got the circle change, but three fingers not on a seam. That's the difference between those pitches for Jim Redding.
So it is going to feel different in his hand. He's on the smooth part of the ball with his fingers.
Yes, and he'll be catching a lot more seam with his thumb. That's going to be kind of the key. I mean, to this day, from my breaking ball, I still have a scar on my thumb. But again, his one, he's going to go now, three fingers not on the seams, and the other ones with the seams on the four.
Evans holding against Gardner, who has 16 stolen bases this year. Damon's gone 0 for 3 tonight. Gardner runs. Santos can't get a throwaway. And Gardner has his 17th stolen base of the year. Second stolen base tonight for the Yankees.
Well, Gardner adds to his American League rookie leading. He's leading the American League rookies in stolen bases, amongst other things. And he gets a terrific. He's very explosive and very low to the ground.
Very low to the ground. Runs like a running back. That's what they teach you, though, right? To stay as low as you can.
That's the way Ricky ran.
Yep.
1-2 to Damon. And Mish throws the curveball and gets him looking. Nicely done by Pat Mish to get Damon and end the inning. Middle of the 6th. Top of the batting order coming up for the Mets as they trail the Yankees 4-1. CC Sabathia had a little problem with the mound as he came out to warm up for the bottom of the 6th. The grounds crew has gone in to get some clay to help rebuild that mound.
Well, think about it. Both pitchers, Mike Pelfrey, who's out of the game now, and CC Sabathia, both 6'7", 6'8" range, and there probably have the same kind of stride, making a bigger hole there at that landing area.
Check out New York baseball today on SNY.TV, the show that sets up the Mets and Yankees game day lineups with pitching breakdowns, analysis, and insight on the day's opponents from their out-of-town team bloggers. New York baseball today, presented by Harrah's, weekday afternoons exclusively on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Game 2 of this series, night game tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We'll be on Pix 11. Tim Redding gets the start, coming off his first win as a Met his last time out, and he'll pitch against A.J. Burnett. 7 o'clock the coverage tomorrow night, and they are still waiting for the grounds crew to come out. They came out initially, 2 guys with a rake and a pounder, but they needed something else to fix the mound.
Well, they need some dirt and clay. That's what he wants in that landing area.
And it's like CC's getting a little impatient. What's with the broom?
Boy, it's only the first game of the series.
Ronnie, did you ever have a problem significant enough with the mound that you had to delay the game like this?
I never did, and in fact, I know that so much emphasis is put on where you stand on the mound, some from the third base side, some from the first base side. I really didn't. If there was a big hole with the pitcher, person I was facing, I would just move to another part of the mound, so I would land somewhere else. But you can see that hole. It's pretty deep.
You got like 2 footprints in there on each side, so it's probably encroaching on where Sabathia wants to step. So they're going to break that ridge up there in the middle.
Well, it's not like dirt. It's clay, and so you really try and pack that thing down.
Unlike amateur stadiums, the big league stadiums use this clay where literally when you throw your first couple of innings, your spikes will catch and they won't move at all, as opposed to an amateur stadium. It's really made of dirt, so when you hit, you really slide, your foot will slide. But these are just really clay, and you can see how hard it is for them to break it down. Now they're going to bring that pounder that'll somehow work the clay in and try to get it so it's really pretty hard.
The grounds crew has all of their supplies out in center field, and here's another grounds crew member bringing some of that clay out into their supply area out beyond center field. So it's a whole operation.
And by the way, they're going to get it all nice and level for Sabathia, and then, you know, I mean, CC's 300 pounds. At some point, it's going to be hard to keep that without having it break apart again.
Well, he's going to go in there and dig himself a hole, another little hole to plant on.
So on this homestand, we've had rain delays, we had an umpire injury delay, and now we have a clay delay. See where that landing area is, right where they just rebuilt with the clay. Meanwhile, they've gone to the 9th inning in Toronto. The Blue Jays leading the Phillies 6-0. The Phillies have had just 2 hits tonight.
Did I hear you right, Keith? You said the Phillies are going to get swept in Toronto?
Yes, number 1.
Wow. I mean, the Phils, if they lose tonight, they'll be just 3 games over 500 for the season. Meanwhile, you've got the Marlins trying to win their 6th in a row. They tied up Tampa Bay 3-3 in the 7th on a Hanley Ramirez home run, and Hanley is starting to get into one of those streaks. That's 14 RBIs in his last 5 games.
Well, he is one of the premier hitters in the game. Interesting, when they were playing down in Florida last series, the Mets in Florida. Oh, go ahead and read the Affleck.
Well, let's answer our Affleck trivia question. We asked the only 3 players to play for the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, and Giants. We got 2 of them. Strawberry and Vizcaino. Never would have gotten Ricky Leday.
That's a toughie.
Ricky Leday played for the Mets 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, 2 and 3. Yeah. They're parts of 2 seasons. So now finally ready to go as Sabathia has the mound to his liking, and the Mets will try and fight from behind on the bottom of the 6th with the top of the batting order. Castillo is 0 for 2, and he takes a strike. So he has struck out and popped up to second base.
Sabathia now 15 of 19 first pitch strikes.
He has struck out 7 tonight and walked nobody.
Oh, good cutter right in the hands.
You're right. Got on the outside of that baseball, didn't he?
Wow. Well, we saw a magnificent cutter from Chris Carpenter yesterday.
That is a unique pitch from Carpenter. Carpenter, he let that ball go by right. Looked like he was going to throw a shutout. Great rally by the Mets and Nick Evans.
Wraps that slider around the plate. And it's 1-2. He's got a lot of weapons, doesn't he?
Well, I don't know how you'd equate it. Maybe Mickey Lolich, the same kind of big man with great stuff.
Lolich was a little more sidearm, wasn't he?
Kind of threw crossfire.
Mickey also is a little more rotund than CeCe. CeCe's just a big guy.
Yeah.
Mickey Lolich was the one that bested Bob Gibson in '68. He won 3 games.
Yes.
That's the year that Denny McLain won 30.
Yeah, but Met fans remember that the Mets traded Rusty Staub to get Mickey Lolich, who was at the end of his career. Talk about a bad deal.
Mets have done that in the past, haven't they?
Yes. Of course, the Mets got Rusty back later. 2-2 to Castillo. Right back to Sabathia. And there's the first out of the bottom of the 6th.
Well, the Mets have done a nice job all season long of working the starting pitcher, getting the pitch count up, getting in the bullpen. The problem you have here with Sabathia at 85 pitches is that he's not a 100-pitch pitcher. He's more in 120, 130 range. So plenty more bullets to get deeper into the game.
Alex Cora is 0 for 2. A sliding catch by Damon in left field in the first, and he was called out on strikes in the 4th. And he's taking all the way a strike.
Well, the little break in the action had no effect on Sabathia. With about a 10-minute delay there, and no effect on his rhythm.
He is a pro. 16 of 20 now, first pitch strikes.
Well, the Mets have feasted on left-handed pitching this year, but this is not your average left-handed pitcher. Line over second, and a catch by Cano. Ball hung up long enough for Cano to snag it for the second out.
Very nonchalantly snagged it, too. He's a bit of a styler. He can play. And boy, a game like this, it just kind of.
Whatever we used to call it, Keith, he was a style masterson.
Yes.
There is a swagger to his game.
Who was the style master for the Mets at first base all those
Willie
years?
Montañez.
There you go.
Nobody grander than old Flash Willie Montañez.
What were some of the things he used to do? Snatch the pop-ups?
Snatch the pop-ups. He had that that home run trot that the chicken used to imitate, where he'd sneak up on each base and then pounce on it. He used to flip his back coming up to the batter's box.
Didn't he used to also, if he catch a ground ball 6-3, he'd catch it and then put it between his legs and then throw it around the infield?
Guillermo was Montañez.
Right fouls it away, and it's 0-2. David has hit a long fly ball to center field that Gardner ran down, and hit a hot shot to third that A-Rod handled. So a tough 0 for 2 tonight for Wright. David goes down swinging on the breaking ball. Sabathia has his 8th strikeout. It's been a masterful job so far by CC Sabathia. We head for the 7th. The Yankees up 4-1. by Fox Business Network, the new home of the American dream. That's Chris Connor's network.
That's right. Poor Chris. Every time I see him, you know, I don't sleep very often, so he's up early doing his reports.
Whew. He didn't used to like those early hours when he worked with us.
That's right.
Mark Teixeira leads off the 7th inning against Pat Mish. After Mike Pelfrey worked the first 5 tonight, Teixeira batting right-handed for the first time tonight, hitting .377 as a right-hand batter. Well, the Yankee big hitters tonight have not done much damage. Damon Teixeira, A-Rod Cano, 2 through 5, 0 for 11. It's everybody else. It's Brett Gardner and Ramiro Pena and yes, CC Sabathia. There's a strike, 2-1 to Teixeira. Teixeira drove in a run on a ground ball to first that Evans botched, one of the 3 errors the Mets committed in the 2nd inning when the Yankees scored all their runs.
Interesting. Those are the kind of pitches I look for from the left-handed reliever Mish. 2-1 count of Teixeira. What does he go with? Change up out of the strike zone. That is what trying to trick Mr. Teixeira.
Oh, good cut, 3-1, a little out of the strike zone. Remember, Teixeira much more lethal against left-handers with the batting average. .348 against lefties.
He likes that pitch up in the strike zone, though, from both sides of the plate.
Now the 3-2 from Mish. In the air to center field, not very deep. And Church is there to wait for it. 1 away.
About the players of recent note that have come out of Georgia Tech. They have some kind of program, don't they? Nomar, Teixeira. You guys just recently saw in Baltimore. Matt Wieters.
Do they all switch in?
Yeah. Varitek. They are all.
Jay Payton came out of Georgia Tech.
The Columbia of the South, it's known as.
It's because Duke calls themselves the Harvard of the South.
That's right.
Well, Stanford was Harvard West, right?
That's right.
The farm.
A-Rod tonight has walked twice and flied to right. Batting average at .221, but he's shown signs of perking up after getting a couple of days off last week. And the word was from the Yankee medical staff that A-Rod would have to take a day off a week, but he's gotten a pass this week. He doesn't have to take a day off.
Girardi says he's going to kind of give him a day off. They go to Minnesota, and on that carpet he'd like to give Alex a day off.
Down the right field side foul, 1-2. Well, I think it speaks to how difficult it is to come back from the hip surgery that Alex went through, and it's instructive to the Mets. I mean, Carlos Delgado looks great. He's been back in the ballpark. He's not allowed to swing the bat yet, but he's working out a little bit, hoping to make a return later this year. But it's not an easy surgery to come back from.
Well, both hitters get a lot of power from their core and from their hips and legs they use in their swing. So that's going to be the problem, to see how much atrophy happened during that surgery and after.
1-2, up and away.
Now, can I just break in here? Chris Carter just sent me a text.
He did.
He says, sorry, guys, Georgia Tech is the MIT of the South.
Oh, that's
right. He went to Georgia Tech.
That's right. Very good, Chris.
3-2 to A-Rod. And he walks for the 3rd time tonight. First walk given up by Mish. And now he'll face the left-hand hitter Cano. Well, it's a final in Toronto. The Blue Jays have beaten the Phillies 6-1, so the Mets will lose no ground to Philadelphia tonight. And also means that if the Marlins win tonight, they would move into a virtual tie with the Phillies.
How about that?
They're 3-3 with Tampa Bay in the 8th. They have seen the heights and the depths this year, haven't they?
Really, 10-game winning streak, right? In the beginning of the season to go 11-1, and now this will be what I think they're 6th straight if they win tonight.
Cano is 0 for 3 tonight. 1 out and 1 on, and he drives one to left field. A base hit for Cano. Rodriguez to second, turns and heads to third. Heading for second is Cano, as Tatis did not throw to second base, and Cano takes advantage.
Well, we've talked about Cano being a bit of a styler, but I'll tell you what, that there was just really hustled down the line. Once he made contact, he read the throw beautifully. The play was in front of him, and Tatis did not throw to second base. Nice play cutting it off. And threw into the relay man for I don't know what. And
was he conceding a double, or
no,
did he not think Cano was going to go?
He did not think Cano was going to go, and Cano took advantage of it.
Now the Mets will intentionally walk Melky Cabrera to load the bases for Francisco Cervelli.
And I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. Apologize, folks. But every single time there's been a play for Tatis in the past couple of weeks to make a strong throw, he has not. Find out what's wrong, if there is anything wrong with his arm, because that's a play that it's automatic that you go to second base with a strong throw to keep the force in order always.
I wonder if Jerry's going to bring in somebody here.
Cervelli is on deck.
And here comes Jerry.
It's an interesting point you make, Ronnie, because remember Tatis' season ended last year because of a separated right shoulder. So it makes you wonder about whether there's anything wrong with his arm. So Mish will exit, and Elmer Descends will replace him, trying to keep the score where it is. Your Lincoln Mercury call to the bullpen. We'll be right back. Descends comes on to face Francisco Cervelli with the bases loaded and one out. And Cervelli rips the first pitch just just barely missed an extra base hit.
And that's a game break right there. That would have been the straw that broke the camel's back, and I thought this ball might have been fair. Let's see. Nope.
Good call by third base umpire Jerry Lane, and a nice grab by the ball boy.
Two hands.
Cervelli thought that was in this time of Wimbledon. That would have been second serve.
Ball boy fundies, Keith.
That's right. The ball boys can get sent down too,
Second appearance for Elmer Descends, who looked terrific his first time out on Tuesday against the Cardinals.
Well, I think we should give a shout out to all the clubhouse kids for Charlie Samuels. This has been the worst month to be a clubhouse kid. And why do I say that? When you have plenty of rain, you have lots of clay in their spikes and cleats. And those kids just laboriously have to clean those spikes every single day.
And Charlie's not going to do anything.
Oh, wow. Cervelli pops it up. This time they should call the infield fly rule, and they do. The batter is out. And Castillo gets the big roar from the crowd, which he gets every time now on a pop-up, which he calmly catches with 2 hands.
Well, you can see Louis back, and he's laughing. He hears it.
Well, he's going to get it more here because he's already getting it for the Mets fans, and doubly here for the Yankee fans that are in attendance.
I remember he got that big ovation from the Yankee fans the day after the drop at Yankee Stadium.
Huge outs here, by the way, for the Mets.
Now Ramiro Pena, who is 2 for 3 tonight with a pair of doubles.
Getting Cervelli to pop up. I mean, geez. So just don't see a lot of guys that can know how to
situational hit there, right?
Just shorten up and get the fly ball. It's just, you don't. Oh well.
Do guys actually practice that?
No, you don't want to hit fly balls in BP. You know, it's just it's like when you're 2-strike hitting and you shorten up. That's the way to approach it. A lot of guys still swing too big, too hard. When this game's still very much in the balance. Those are big runs out there.
1-0 to Pena. And he pops one up. Another chance for Castillo. Another roar from the crowd. Side retired. DeSenz comes in, gets 2 pop-ups. And Louis loving it. 7th inning stretch time, 4-1 Yankees. Provocative question.
Wow.
Well, I think they're very different kinds of players. That's the first piece of it, right?
That's a tough question.
I'm too busy drinking my coffee. No. That is a tough question. Well, think about it this way. When Jose came up, certainly did not have the complement of players that Mr. Jeter had early in his career. And he's got Jeter's got the rings, man. Yeah. And until you get the rings, you can't compare the two.
But that's the impact,
yes.
Isn't it?
Oh, of course.
The impact Met fans would like to see Reyes or anybody else have on this franchise. Somebody who helps them win a ring.
Yeah. Well, Jose certainly has the talent to be that kind of player. I mean, he's put up some tremendous numbers.
Sheffield's accounted for the only Met run tonight with his 9th home run of the year. Sheffield now leads the Mets in home runs, one more than Carlos Beltran. Mets have had just 3 hits against CC Sabathia, and they all came in the 5th inning. And Sheffield pops this one along the right field line. A long run for Cabrera near the stands. He makes the grab. Caught it in fair territory for the first out.
What made that play so tough, Keith, is Cabrera's playing way in right center, had to go a long distance.
And he's got to negotiate the tight fence there. And sometimes when you slow down like that in a full sprint, you can the ball can kind of dance on you.
Well, you try and stay on your toes when you run out there, right? So the ball doesn't bounce.
Right. Once you go on your heels, you're toast.
But the problem is you got to get on your heels there because you have to slow yourself down or you're going to run into the wall.
Now Tatis, who had an infield hit his last time up. And Fernando takes ball 1. And of course, that's why guys will slide when they get close to that sidewalk.
Well, Melky almost overran that baseball, didn't he? Melky has played a lot of center field. In fact, in spring training, lost his job in center field to Brett Gardner. Interesting, right? When he throws that first pitch fastball and he misses, to give the hitter another different look, he throws a little cutter. It's usually 3 or 4 miles an hour slower, but that little bit of movement fools the hitter.
95 pitches now for Sabathia. 2-to-1 strike to ball ratio. And then Tatis watches wide, 2-1. Sabathia has struck out 8. That matches his season high. He has struck out as many as 13 in a game in his career. Right back to Sabathia. And there were 2 away.
Well, he has just been dominant, Sabathia.
What's the word, Keith? He is dealing.
He's retired 7 in a row now.
Very interesting.
He's from Vallejo.
Yes, he did. Vallejo High School.
His mom, Margie, was a terrific softball player in her time, and she used to catch CC until he was 12, at which point she tossed the glove away and said, "You're throwing too hard for me. Find somebody else."
Well, if you want to know where Vallejo is, it's about 20-25 miles northeast of San Francisco, East Bay. And you keep driving north from Vallejo, you end up in Napa.
Church is 0 for 2 tonight. And Ryan takes a fastball for a strike.
You go to Vallejo and it'll be 100 degrees in the summer there, and you're in San Francisco, it's 58.
The microclimates in that area are just amazing.
Bobby Parnell up in the Mets bullpen. And Church smacks one down to third. A-Rod playing off the line, backs off on it and throws on Church. And the Mets are down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Sabathia has now retired 8 in a row. We head for the 8th at Citi Field. Sabathia has been in charge. Yankees lead 4-1. Is loaded in the 7th, stays on to face CC Sabathia, who's up for the 4th time. Sabathia contributed an RBI single in the 4-run second for the Yankees. That produced all their runs, and Sabathia has made them stand up.
Keith, you're facing Sabathia in his prime, 28 years old. How would you attack him? Tough, right?
It would be, I would pick one half of the plate, yeah. Either I'm looking in or I'm looking away, predominantly looking away as Sabathia goes down swinging.
First strikeout for descends. 1 out and nobody on. Time to check in with the studio. Gary Apple standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. All right, thanks, Gary. Now Brett Gardner up for the 5th time. He's 3 for 4 tonight. Red Sox have beaten the Braves tonight 4-1, so the Yankees need to win to stay 4 games behind Boston. Phillies have already lost, so the Mets will be no worse than a half game out after tonight.
Jerry, who started for Minnesota today? Was it Mr. Slowey going for his 11th, or Blackburn, or neither?
Twins playing in St. Louis tonight, and it was Glenn Perkins. Twins leading 3-1 in that game in the 8th.
Florida is still tied at 3-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Tampa's got runners on first and second, 2 outs.
You're right on top of it.
I love this scoreboard that
nice,
City.
right?
It's sweet.
Gardner lifts one down the right field line back toward Utley's corner near the wall. It's out of here. Brett Gardner with his 3rd home run of the year, and the Yankees extend their lead to 5-1.
Well, what a night for Gardner.
It's the best part of the ballpark to hit a home run, and the opposition has used it far better than the Mets have.
Boy, he turned on this pitch, his 3rd home run, as Gary said.
What did you call it? The Utley corner?
Utley's corner. Well, he hit 3 in 2 days there,
right.
didn't he? Now Johnny Damon is over 4.
Take a look at the pitch. Fastball in.
Hanging slider, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Just kind of a nothing slider.
First hit descends is allowed as a Met, and it's a home run. Slap toward the middle. Cora sliding over. Quick toss, and it gets Damon. Nicely done by Cora for the 2nd out.
Well, there it is. I guess Gary named it. It's going to be Utley's corner until someone else takes it over. Here's a side swing. No stride. Beautiful extension. Let's go with the one hand. Nice swing. This kid could play. I mean, he came into this game, Gary, leading American League rookies in hitting, runs, walks, on-base percentage, and stolen bases.
Well, Brett Gardner has a 4-hit night tonight. He's got a stolen base, and he's got a home run. It's a complete night at the ballpark.
Well, think about it this way. For a Yankees team whose core is more veteran players, he brings them some youth, he brings them some energy, and he brings them some speed.
Teixeira takes outside. By the way, talking about that corner of the ballpark, I read a study today from a website called HitTrackerOnline.com, which claims that Citi Field, as Teixeira draws a walk, Citi Field has cost the Mets and opposing players 36 home runs as compared to balls if they were hit the same way at Shea Stadium.
Wow.
That it has given hitters only 2 home runs that would not have been home runs at Shea, and they were both balls hit by Chase Utley in that right field corner.
Very interesting.
It's a little bit shorter in that corner. It was 338 down the line at Shea.
That would have been a home run at Shea. It would have banged off that wall, right? Back into play.
A-Rod up for the 5th time. He's walked 3 times tonight. He hits this one to right center field. It's hit well. Back goes Sheffield looking up, and it's out of here. Alex Rodriguez moves into 11th place all-time on the home run list. He passes Reggie Jackson with his 564th. And the Yankees have broken this game open. And they lead it 7-1.
Well, this is a slider up. Oh, down Broadway. And you don't want to let this guy. Look at the big leg kick from A-Rod. Wow, like Strawberry. This goes right with the pitch.
If he starts hitting the ball like that to right center field in his home ballpark, he will start putting up some tremendous numbers.
I don't believe we've seen a right-hand hitter hit one out on part of Citi Field before tonight. Kate liked it.
Yeah, why not?
Toward the middle and a base hit for Cano, and they're starting to hit the ball very hard against Elmer DeSantis. Well, it's number 564 for A-Rod. He's now 10th all-time, 11th all-time. He's 5 behind Rafael Palmeiro for 10th all-time. And you know, you look at that and you say, well, there's A-Rod who failed a drug test, and Palmeiro who failed a drug test, and this is the era that we're in as guys continue to climb the home run list.
Yeah, look the other way as Jerry's coming out. And don't forget, they asked Reggie Jackson, does he mind if A-Rod's passing him? You know what he said? I love it. People are talking about me again.
Yeah, Reggie's very fond of being in the public eye. We know that. Well, A-Rod's always in the public eye. Bobby Parnell will come on to pitch for the Mets. Yankees have opened a 7-1 lead in the 8th inning. Field. Weekdays at 5, it's a fast-paced roundtable discussion as Jonas Schwartz and Joe Beningo talk New York sports with the Daily News writers behind the hottest stories. And Monday, don't miss Carlos Delgado as he swings by the studio to join the debate and talk about his rehab on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, every weekday at 5, only on SNY. Well, an inauspicious start to Bobby Parnell's outing as he drops the ball and balks.
Well, you know, it's very funny. We've already watched him bounce the ball in his hand many times. That's something he's going to have to change.
Well, that advances Robinson to Cano to second. Then he bounces the next one in the dirt for a wild pitch. So a balk and a wild pitch. And he's only thrown one pitch.
Well, you see his last outing was a scoreless inning as he pitched in that 11-run game for the Cardinals. One thing about Bobby, you said the spinning of the ball is just a little picadillo that he picked up early in his career. Great way to stop that is just start the ball in your glove. Then you don't have to do that.
Melky Cabrera takes high, and it's 2-0. Well, the Mets had held fast after giving up 4 runs in the second inning. Elmer descends, got them out of trouble in the 7th, but found big-time trouble here in the 8th, and the Yankees have broken this game open. After beating the Mets 15-0 in their last meeting on that Sunday game at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees are up 7-1 tonight. By the way, the Mets have not lost a season series to the Yankees since 2003. But if they lose tonight, they'll be behind 3-1 and have to take the next 2 to avoid losing the season series. Up and away, and it's 3-2 to Cabrera.
This would be a nice time for him to work on his secondary pitchers. Okay, it's 3-2. Cabrera's got it, expecting a fastball. Can he throw a 3-2 change, a slider?
Goes the fastball and misses with it. And so Cabrera's on with a walk. Boy, how many times have we seen Parnell walk his first batter over the last 3-4 weeks?
He's been struggling, and he got a lot of work in, and he's just going through a tough time. And I'm always a little bit more concerned about the psyche of a young player, whether it's a pitcher or a hitter. You got the flip side of the coin offensively. Fernando Martinez. I worry about them losing confidence.
Now first and third with 2 out. Here's Francisco Cervelli. He was 0 for 4 in this game.
Well, it's a hard thing for Dan Warthen, isn't it? I mean, it's one of those things that you don't want to bring it up too much because it's going to be in his head, but you got to bring it up a little bit as you try to work him out of this little stretch of bad pitching.
He has a slider that misses. 1-1.
You see where Tampa scored a ton of runs.
Scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th.
So the status quo.
B.J. Upton had a 3-run double in that inning. Boy, is he heated up. Well, every other team in the National League East has lost. The Phillies lost tonight. The Braves lost. The Nats lost. And the Marlins now trail 7-3 going to the 9th.
More and more, this division seeming like a 500 division by the All-Star break.
It's like 1973 all over
There
again.
you go.
Well, they wanted parity. They got it.
Cervelli hits one to left center field. Hit well. Church going back and has room to run it down. Cervelli making a bid, but Church reeling it in to end the inning. An inning in which the Yankees hit a pair of home runs. Brett Gardner found the corner, and Alex Rodriguez driving one to the opposite field to move past Reggie Jackson. 7-1 Yankees. Yankees took a 4-0 lead in this game in the second inning when the Mets defense fell apart.
Well, there's the first error right there, the throwing error by Wright. Another throwing error by Cora. And then a bobble.
3 errors, producing a couple of unearned runs, and that's all that Mike Pelfrey gave up tonight over 5 innings. But the Mets managed just 1 run off CC Sabathia over 7 innings. Now he's gone, and Brett Tomko is in.
A little bit of a sloppy game tonight in this first game for the Mets. Tomko with that high ERA, he has struggled so far in that bullpen. Joe Girardi trying to get him an inning of work. 4 home runs allowed, and only 14 in the 3rd innings pitched.
Nick Evans has one of the Mets' 3 hits tonight. He singled to right field in the 5th. He was the last man to reach against Sabathia, who allowed just a run on 3 hits, didn't walk a batter, struck out 8, and retired his last 8 hitters. And the slider for a strike from Tomko, 1-2. Nick Evans making his 3rd straight start. Mets will see another right-hander tomorrow in A.J. Burnett. Does Evans start again? Does Daniel Murphy crack the lineup? I asked Jerry Manuel about the 2 of them and whether he'd feel comfortable playing either one of them at another position. As Evans pulls one down to 3rd. Another nice stop by A-Rod, and the long throw gets him. Boy, A-Rod has made some terrific plays tonight.
I just appreciate the range.
We don't see enough of them, Ronnie and Garrett. And I tell you what, A-Rod is quite a fielder. He's got good hands.
Yeah, he's just, that's a long way to go. And to have the arm strength to plant and throw a bullet over there.
Well, he was a Gold Glove shortstop.
He's all world.
Anyway, Jerry was saying he could play Evans in left field or right field. Probably wouldn't feel comfortable playing Murphy anywhere but first base. Just food for thought when you think about tomorrow's lineup. Santos takes ball 1.
I think that's a good move. I think Murphy has played much better at first base, and I think he'll hit better as being a first baseman.
Santos pops it a mile high, and Cano settles under. And quickly there are 2 out. And now we'll see Daniel Murphy as a pinch hitter. And I would think that as good as Murphy looked over a 6 or 7 day span, you wouldn't want it to sit for too long now just because Evans is starting to hit.
Although Jerry has said if you're hitting, you're going to be in the lineup, so that's going to hurt him a little bit. I think Evans got to be in the lineup somewhere tomorrow.
Couldn't you see Murphy playing first and Evans playing left tomorrow? Tatis has played 5 straight games.
Yes, absolutely.
Evans played a very nice outfield last year.
Yeah.
I think one thing's apparent with this big ballpark. You've got to have some outfielders that can have some jackrabbits out there that can cover ground.
1-1 to Murphy. Well, certainly Fernando Martinez has done a very nice job playing center field, but he hasn't hit.
2 beautiful plays in yesterday's ball game.
And Jeremy Reed has done a nice job everywhere the Mets have used him in the outfield. But I guess as long as Martinez is here, he's going to play.
Yeah.
If he's not going to play, they need to send him back. So it's really a juggling act right now for Jerry, trying to find enough offense, trying to keep his defense together, trying to get playing time for guys who need it, and trying to find a win here and there.
Well, it makes sense not to start the young left-handed hitter against CC Sabathia. That's going to keep you in a slump.
3-2 now to Murphy. Daniel, base hit was only at bat in yesterday's game. It's this one foul. Well, it's a final at St. Pete. The Rays have beaten the Marlins 7-3. So there your standings up to the moment. The Phillies loss drops them for the moment into a first place tie with the Mets. And everybody else in the division losing as well. In 1973, the Mets were in last place on August 30th and won the division
at 500, right?
82-79.
That's right.
They won it the day after the season ended in Chicago.
Foggy day.
On a Monday. They were scheduled for a doubleheader if they needed to. They won the first game. They canceled the second game, and that's why they only played 161. Murphy cracks one to deep center field. Gardner has plenty of room, and that retires the side. So Tomko comes on and gets the Mets 1-2-3. On to the ninth, 7-1 the Yankees.
Have just won the pennant in the Eastern Division.
Well, there it was, 1973. The call from Bob Murphy on that foggy day in Chicago.
And all you kids that have grown up with cable TV and you can watch baseball every day. I was in San Francisco, eagerly awaiting the outcome of that game, and I had to wait for Howard K. Smith on his evening news.
Nice.
Evening news.
I was in school. It was a Monday afternoon, and we were listening on the radio because it was important.
Yes. Sean Green in the pitch for the Mets. Do you remember when Ali and Frazier would fight and it was closed circuit and you'd have to next day go run and get the paper? You wanted to see who won the fight.
You'd listen to the radio and they would have you round by round.
Exactly.
That's right.
And you know, it was much later at night for us here than it was for you on the West Coast game.
Right.
David Wright throws a sinker to first and not in time. Not a good throw by David, who made a throwing error earlier in the game. And you will probably get credit for a hit on this one.
Well, this is the second ground ball in this homestand that David has backed up on and given up a base hit. And there's no excuse for this. I mean, you got to know your runners. Oh, he might have been out.
I think it bounced, Keith. Watch the bounce.
Oh, I think he had him.
Yep, you do. Let's see.
He's out.
He's out.
Good call, Keith.
Brett Tomko up there to hit, looking to get a bunt down, and takes evasive action.
He's out.
Very close.
Green behind 2-0 on Tomko. Mets have used 5 pitchers tonight. Pelfrey went the first 5, allowed 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 of them earned. Pat Mish, an inning and a third, no runs, 2 hits. Omer DeSenz got out of a big-time jam in the 7th, but then gave up a couple of home runs in the 8th. Throw down to first with Castillo sneaking in. Peña gets back.
Well, the problem you have here is that you have a 7-1 game. So Mr. Evans is not holding on Pena because of that maybe rule of not stealing when you have this kind of a lead, but literally giving up the steal, isn't he?
He can run.
Castillo again sneaking in behind him.
Would you think it's wrong to run here, Keith? 7-1 in the ninth?
No, not in today's game. I think things changed with Herzog and his Cardinals. Whitey always stole just to pad the lead. You never know. I mean, it's very rare that it's, a 6-run lead in the ninth should hold up.
Yeah.
He can go.
I've always thought the rule should be, I'll stop running if you stop trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And if the team's down by 6 runs, they're still trying. So why shouldn't I try to score as many as I can?
Well, I think 6 is fine. But if you're at double digits or more, okay. Yeah.
Gary, how many games have you called? I mean, you've seen comebacks bigger than this, I'm sure.
Not many,
but it can happen.
Top go down on strikes for the first out. Tomorrow night we're on Picks, Sunday night ESPN, and then Monday the Mets go to Milwaukee. That's our next SNY telecast. It's a 6:30 Eastern time start. 7 o'clock first pitch. Fernando Nieve tries to go to 4-0 against the former Met Braden Looper on Monday night.
Boy, you'd think with the day game on getaway day in Milwaukee that they would have the 6 o'clock start on the night before.
I think they have the 6 o'clock start Monday for TV. National TV.
Oh, I got it.
I don't think it was because the Brewers wanted to play an hour early. So it's 7 o'clock Eastern on Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday, 2 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday.
That means we get into Pittsburgh at dinner hour.
And then one game in Pittsburgh on Thursday because you always want to make that extra trip to Pittsburgh. And then to Philadelphia for the weekend.
I'll see you guys in Philadelphia.
What's with that? Don't you make any road trips?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
It's a strike. 1-2 to Gardner, who has 4 hits tonight, including a home run.
I got a little secret for you, Gary. After Friday's game in Philly, I'm off through the All-Star break. Ronnie takes over.
You say that with such a
relish. Relish. Don't you like us?
Oh, of course.
Pull over the right field line, and that's a fair ball, and Gardner has a 5-hit game. Pena around third, he'll be waved on in. Gardner heads to third and standing with an RBI triple. 3 singles, a homer, and now a triple for Brett Gardner.
Just missing a double for the cycle. What a day.
And the Yankees lead 8-1.
Middle of that pitch by Sean Green. Hits it opposite the defense. They're playing him away to left field. Nice speed by Pena. Better speed by Gardner. Watch this young man run. Beautiful thing.
He can fly.
Look at that. Pick him up, put him down.
Gardner had never had a 4-hit game in his career. Now he's got a 5-hit game. Ball 1 to Johnny Damon as the Mets bring the infield in. This game has been out of the barn for a while. Gardner with his 4th triple of the year. He's only got 46 hits, and he's got 4 triples. Damon rips one down the right field line, and that'll bring home Gardner. And Damon heads for second. And he pulls in with an RBI double to make it 9-1.
Wait a minute, didn't we just see that hit just about 2 minutes ago?
Almost the same pitch. Right down the middle. Oh, boy.
Well, the Yankees now with 9 runs and 14 hits, and for a Yankee team that had been struggling for offense, that is now 28 runs in the last 3 games.
That doesn't bode very well for the Mets here in this weekend series.
Now to Scherer, who's 0 for 4 with a walk. Gardner having himself a huge night. Look at him go.
It's like a motion picture. And he's a small guy, but he has a long stride. It's like Flash.
Well, we are very fortunate to get to watch Jose Reyes run as Green comes inside and plunks to Scherer. And watching Gardner run, it reminds a little bit of what the Mets are missing with Reyes out of the lineup. as Teixeira takes his base. That speed has put big time pressure on the Mets tonight. Remember, Evans made his error at first base because Gardner was coming home from third base on contact.
Gardner coming home from first base and Teixeira busting it down the line at first base.
We'll get a pinch runner here for Teixeira as Dan Warthen goes to the mound. Cody Ransom comes in to run for Teixeira. Ransom recently came back after 2 months on the disabled list with a quad injury.
I remember Cody Ransom started as the New York Yankees third baseman this season when A-Rod was recovering from that hip surgery. Ransom really had a tough go of it, to tell you the truth, early on trying to replace A-Rod.
Then they went with Ramiro Pena for a while after Ransom got hurt. Now Hideki Matsui will bat for A-Rod. Matsui, who has been unable to play much over the last week and a half because the Yankees have been playing in National League parks, and Matsui's knee just will not allow him to play the outfield now. So he's been reduced to pinch hitting duties. Matsui hitting a .250 on the year with 10 home runs.
Well, that'll empty a stadium in a heartbeat, huh?
41,278, a new Citi Field record tonight. Mets' second straight sellout. One and two to Matsui.
The Yankees put up 3 crooked numbers, 4 in the second, 3 in the 8th, and working on 2 right now. Still working.
Well, they could have a lot more. They're only 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position.
How about those 14 hits?
Well, in the last 2 games between these 2 teams, the Yankees have now outscored the Mets 24-1. So the Mets will be looking to bounce back tomorrow against A.J. Burnett.
Gardner is reminds me a little bit of Lenny Dykstra's way. He's a very serious player. Hard-nosed.
No tobacco dripping down his chin.
Thank God for him.
Little looper into left. Tatis coming over. And that is the second out. So Matsui retired. 2 out and 2 on. Now Robinson Cano, who's singled and doubled tonight, 2 for 5.
Nice production from Cano this season, huh? 42 RBIs, 12 home runs from your second baseman. Couple hits tonight.
Now he takes a strike from Green. And Cano lifts one to left. And Tatis is there, and that retires the side. Yankees tack on a couple, helped out by Brett Gardner's 5th hit of the game. Now the Mets come up in the bottom of the 9th, trailing 9-1. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Corona. By Pepsi. By Honda. By Citi. And by Geico. Defensive changes for the Yankees. Cody Ransom stays in the game at third base. Nick Swisher comes in to play first base. As the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the ninth against Brett Tomko, trailing 9-1. Mets have had a base runner since the fifth. In fact, they've only had 3 base runners tonight, and they all came in the fifth. Sabathia retired the first 12. Sheffield homered leading off the fifth. And then after a couple more hits in that inning, the Mets have had 11 in a row retired by Sabathia and Tomko. Castillo's 0 for 3 tonight. And this is kind of the way it's gone for the Mets offense in this period where they're trying to patch it together without their stars. They'll have one really good offensive game and then the next day very little. And certainly they have a good excuse tonight. They face one of the best pitchers in baseball. But it just shows you what a razor's edge this team is on right now.
Well, you never want to say a team is overmatched, but when Sabathia has his good stuff, it doesn't matter really what lineup he's facing. He's got those 4 quality pitches.
Slow ground ball for Pena. And he makes the running toss nicely to get Castillo for the first down. Oh, don't forget, right after we've done here, it's time for Lincoln Mercury postgame live. And the boys still out here at the ballpark.
They're doing it from here, right?
This stage get blown away by the Kansas-like tornado.
Baseball, you're going to make adjustments, Gary.
Anyway, Chris Carlin, Bobby Ojeda, Darryl Strawberry, they'll all be on hand to break this game down and talk about CC Sabathia's great effort tonight. It's all coming up on Lincoln Mercury postgame live right after the game.
If you look at the scorecard for the Mets have been every inning except the fifth when they scored the 1 run have been 1, 2, 3.
Watch out. And Damon fortunately avoids the collision as Pena makes the play for the second out.
First 4 innings, the Mets went down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They had the big inning where they scored the run in the fifth, and then the last 3 innings they went down in order.
Remember,
they're working on it now in the ninth.
Remember in the playoffs a few years ago when Damon had that horrible collision
with Mr. Jackson?
Damian Jackson?
Yes, Damian Jackson.
I mean, that had to be flashing through his mind right there.
That was one of the worst I've ever seen, playing center field for the Red Sox. Jackson, the second baseman, they just collided head to head.
That's down to their final out of the night. David Wright has gone 0 for 3. He's hit a couple of balls well. Tomko's retired all 5 batters to face him after relieving Sabathia. Two and one to Wright.
He's been an everyday player, former everyday player. Are these losses easier to take other than losing a heartbreaker late in the game? And just try to regroup for tomorrow?
It's a good question. You know, you always want to be in games and battling. And, you know, in the course of the season, Ron, you're going to have games when the team's going to get you big time, and you're going to have days when you're going to get them. It's just one you throw away. I mean, the Mets didn't play well. They made 3 errors in the 1 inning and let it open the floodgates. You know, if you play like that, you don't deserve to win.
3-2 to David Wright. Yankee fans hoping for the final strike of the night. And David swings and misses at the fastball. Tomko finishes it off. And the Yankees have their second straight rout of the Mets. As Sabathia pitched 7 brilliant innings. And the Yankees get a huge outing from Brett Gardner with 5 hits, including a triple and a home run, and win easily 9-1.
Well, this will be a game that Brett Gardner won't forget. One that Jerry Manuel will try to forget. The silver lining really for the Mets is that everyone in the NL East went down tonight. And Joe Girardi's and his team have outscored the Mets in the last 2 games of this series 24-1.
Well, it's just a game to throw away, and too much Sabathia.
Well, Mike Pelfrey took the loss. Mets committed 3 errors in the second inning, handed the Yankees 4 runs, and that was pretty much that, with Sabathia pitching a wonderful game, allowing just a Gary Sheffield home run, retiring the first 12. Brett Gardner having the game of his life, and the Yankees have now taken 3 out of 4 from the Mets this season. They win it 9-1. Game 2 of the series tomorrow, 7 o'clock on Pix 11. Next SNY telecast Monday when the Mets go to Milwaukee. We'll be back to Citi Field in just a moment.